Chapter 4007, The Arrogant Princess, 1. Lord Jing softened a little and said, "Luckily, I didn't tell him about our secret. We've only been seeing each other a little. It's not a big deal." Night Owl stared at him. "Are you sure?" Lord Jing said, "My lord, His Majesty has allowed you to have an independent residence because he trusts you. Don't panic." Night Owl calmed down and nodded. "That's right." Lord Jing changed the subject. "By the way, what's that amazing skill you talked about? Have you succeeded?" Night Owl gloated at the mention of that. "Who do you think I am? How can I fail?" Lord Jing said, "So it's—" Night Owl didn't dare to say anything. It was an indescribable pain, but the advancement had indeed made him much more confident. Night Owl said, "Don't ask. By the way, how's the war going?" Lord Jing shook his head and told him about Patriarch Huyen's participation in the battle. Night Owl frowned. Why would he join the war? Does he have connections with the Junwo Empire? Why would he help them? Lord Jing shook his head and was equally confused. The Patriarch said that he only did it because a young friend asked for his help, and the deadline is 3 months. We'll do it after that, and he won't interfere. Night Owl asked, "Are you sure?" Lord Jing said, "I heard it with my own ears." Night nodded. "If that's the case, it's doable. As for this young friend, Uncle, who do you think it is?" Lord Jing said, "Jun Linyuan." Night Owl's face turned livid. Lord Jing smiled bitterly. "I don't want it to be him, but apart from him, I don't think there's anyone else in this world that can do such a thing." Night Owl smirked. "So what if Patriarch Huyen thinks highly of him? I'll kill him in 3 months." Lord Jing was curious. "Your current skill," Night Owl said, "I'll surpass him in 3 months. Don't worry." Just then they heard a voice outside. It was Gong Ming. "Princess Yenling is here to see you." The fact that Princess Yenling was here to see him was proof enough of her status. Moreover, before Night Owl could say anything, a pleasant voice rang out. "This room is crowded. What's going on here?" Princess Yenling sat down opposite them and played with a red fruit in her hand. She didn't seem to think much of the 2 influential figures of the Dongsang Kingdom. Of course, Lord Jing wouldn't blame her because his master was Ma Quanquan, who worked for Yenling's family. Lord Jing smiled. "Princess Yenling, I didn't expect to see you here. Sorry for not greeting you earlier." Night Owl had known Princess Yenling since they were little. Although communication between the 2 continents was very difficult, Princess Yenling had begged Ma Quanquan to bring her here when she was little. She had grown up with Night Owl, but the Crown Prince didn't like Princess Yenling very much. Because when Princess Yenling looked at them. To be more precise, Princess Yenling looked down upon everyone on this continent in a condescending manner. Night Owl frowned at the thought of that attitude. And she was doing it again. Chapter 4008, The Arrogant Princess, 2. Princess Yenling glanced at Lord Jing before looking at Night Owl again. "What? Does the Crown Prince have a problem with me? Am I not welcome here?" Princess Yenling said indifferently, but there was no warmth in her eyes. Lord Jing glanced at Night Owl. Night Owl was furious, but he still smiled coldly. "Of course not. It's my honor. But otherwise, I would have thought that I was an unwelcome guest." Princess Yenling chuckled. "By the way, what were you talking about?" Lord Jing immediately said, "Nothing. We were just talking about His Royal Highness' phenomenal success." "A phenomenal success?" Princess Yenling was intrigued. Rising to her feet, she walked around Night Owl and asked, "What is it?" "Are you very capable?" Night said. "It's nothing. I'm just a little better than you." Crossing her hands behind her back, Princess Yenling gave Night Owl a half-smile. "Night Owl, why do I feel that you have something against me?" Night Owl said indifferently, "Of course not." Princess Yenling said, "I don't think you'll dare either." Night Owl was furious. Princess Yenling suddenly raised her voice and stared at him. "Night Owl, didn't you tell me that you were the most capable man of your generation? You lied to me." Night Owl's face darkened. Lord Jing intervened. Princess, you're making fun of us. His Royal Highness is indeed the best of the younger generation. Princess Yenling glanced at Lord Jing. That's a claim that's only true in the Dongsang Kingdom, isn't it? I've been walking around outside, and they all told me that the king of your continent's younger generation is a teenager named Jun Linyuan. Night Owl's face darkened. Princess Yenling sneered at Night Owl. Is Jun Linyuan really more capable than you? Outside, Feng Wu felt embarrassed for Night Owl. Princess Yenling had to be here to upset Night Owl, right? As expected, Night Owl's breathing quickened, and he was obviously angry. Lord Jing tried to make peace again. He smiled bitterly. Jun Linyuan is indeed a talented cultivator, but His Royal Highness is as capable as he is. I think they're about the same level. Princess Yenling asked, "Is that so?" Lord Jing immediately said, "Princess, you'll be able to see with your own eyes if Jun Linyuan or the Crown Prince is more capable in the final battle 3 months later." Princess Yenling glanced at Night Owl and said, "Don't think that I don't know what your father is thinking. He wants me to marry you." "But Night Owl, the man I want to marry has to be the strongest. Even if he's not the most capable cultivator of the Dayan Empire, he has to be the most capable young man on this continent. If you can't even defeat Jun Linyuan, you're not qualified to marry me." Night Owl had had enough of this condescending attitude. He smirked and said, "You can marry whomever you want. Do you think I want to marry you?" That was the wrong thing to say. Princess Yenling wasn't provoked. She only stared at Night Owl and suddenly smiled. "Don't tell me you think that without the Dayan Empire's help, the Dongsang Kingdom could have suppressed the Junwo Empire all these years." Chapter 4009, The Arrogant Princess, 3. "You!" Night Owl glared at Princess Yenling. Princess Yenling smirked. "What did I do? Did I say something wrong?" Lord Jing intervened. "That's enough. Stop quarreling." He grabbed Night Owl's arm. Night Owl was obviously displeased. Princess Yenling sneered at him. "Lord Jing, am I wrong?" Of course, Lord Jing wouldn't be happy. He was from the Dongsang Kingdom. Princess Yenling was humiliating the Dongsang Kingdom, which was the same as humiliating him. However, Lord Jing could only smile obsequiously. "Princess Yenling, you're right. If it hadn't been for the help of the Empire, the Dongsang Kingdom would have." Seeing that Lord Jing had given in, Princess Yenling softened a little. She glanced at Night Owl and said arrogantly, "You have to admit it, even if you don't want to." Night Owl was furious, but Lord Jing stepped on his foot and silenced him. Seeing this, Princess Yenling was even more pleased. Lord Jing immediately changed the subject. "Princess, why are you here today?" Princess Yenling said, "Can't I come here when I don't have anything to do?" Lord Jing smiled bitterly. "Of course, Princess, you can come whenever you want." Princess Yenling glanced at Lord Jing as she played with the fruit. "Why do I feel that you can make decisions for the Crown Prince's residence?" Lord Jing was vexed. Princess Yenling was so disrespectful. But Princess Yenling was the ambassador of the Empire, and he didn't dare to offend her. "Princess, you're making fun of me." Lord Jing could only laugh it off and hoped that Princess Yenling wouldn't talk about it anymore. But Princess Yenling didn't seem to mind at all. She smiled and said, "Actually, His Royal Highness lets his emotions show too easily, and he's too childish. I don't quite trust him when we work together." Night Owl was going to lose his temper again, but Lord Jing was already in front of him. This time, Lord Jing didn't try to laugh it off because he realized that even so, Princess Yenling wouldn't stop. Lord Jing said indifferently, "Princess, please show some respect to the Dongsang Kingdom." Humiliating the Crown Prince was the same as humiliating the Dongsang Kingdom. Little Phoenix showed Feng Wu the live feed. "They're so boring. I don't want to listen to them. I want to sleep and cultivate." Little Phoenix yawned and wanted to come out. It had been coveting Feng Wu's cultivation level for a long time. All it needed to do now was to sleep and cultivate, and it would reach the spiritual saint stage in time. Therefore, it wanted to go back to its ring space. Because of Feng Wu's request, it had to stay awake and take care of all the chores. However, Feng Wu sensed something from Princess Yen Ling's tone. She immediately communicated with Little Phoenix in her head. No, please don't. Just stay a little longer. Just a little longer. I promise I won't keep you from your cultivation anymore. Please. You're the smartest and wisest Master Phoenix in the universe. Little Phoenix was so pleased with Feng Wu's flattery that it only said proudly. Fine, fine. Since you've begged me, I'll stay a little longer. Just a little longer. Feng Wu said, yes. To Feng Wu's surprise, Princess Yen Ling. Chapter 4010, Night Owl's Story, 1. To Feng Wu's surprise, Princess Yen Ling was going to reveal such a big secret. Princess Yen Ling smiled at Lord Jing and said indifferently, I'm not showing the Dongsang Kingdom any respect? Ha! You're the king's only brother, and you're the one who's not showing the Dongsang Kingdom any respect. Lord Jing blanched, and his face darkened again. Princess, what do you mean? Lord Jing narrowed his eyes and gave her a warning look. Wait, he was angry. Little Phoenix, who had been dozing off, scrambled to its feet and looked from one face to another. Unfortunately, Lord Jing and the others didn't know that Feng Wu had a mouthpiece in the room. Princess Yen Ling wasn't threatened at all and grinned. What do you mean? Lord Jing, you know better than I do, don't you? Are you afraid to admit it? Princess Yen Ling. Lord Jing tried to stop her. Unfortunately, he had underestimated the princess's sense of superiority. Princess Yen Ling grinned at Night Owl. Don't tell me you don't know that. Night Owl had a dangerous look in his eyes. Princess Yen Ling took the hint right away. So, you do know. Both Lord Jing and Night Owl stared at her. Lord Jing asked coldly, Princess, what do you know? Please don't hesitate to tell me. Princess Yen Ling said, if that's what you want, I'll tell you. Princess Yen Ling grinned at Night Owl. As she ate her fruit, she turned to look at Lord Jing. Why do I feel that His Royal Highness looks a little like you? Instantly, the air seemed to freeze. Little Phoenix was dumbfounded. It took it a while to tell Feng Wu what it had heard. Feng Wu was dumbfounded. What was that supposed to mean? Her imagination began to run wild. Meanwhile, Princess Yen Ling was grinning at Lord Jing. Why do I feel that the two of you look a lot alike? Lord Jing's eyes flickered, but he didn't let it show. Princess, you're so funny. Princess Yen Ling smiled. I don't tell jokes. Lord Jing was speechless. Night Owl stared at Princess Yen Ling. Are you done talking? Get lost. Princess Yen Ling asked, Your Royal Highness, are you chasing me away? Night Owl snorted. Princess Yen Ling chuckled. If you still don't understand what I mean, I haven't told you enough. Lord Jing said, That's enough, Princess. I don't want to hear such things from other people again. Princess Yen Ling said, Well, it's negotiable. The two of you really look alike and have the same temperament. You're both so grumpy. Lord Jing was speechless. Night Owl fell silent. Princess Yen Ling waved at them. Fine, fine. If you don't want to listen to me, I'll go to someone who will. She rose to her feet and turned to leave after that. Where are you going? Night Owl blocked her way. Princess Yen Ling grinned at him. To court, of course. I'll talk to Her Majesty. Maybe His Majesty will listen to me if he's here. Chapter 4011, Night Owl's Story, 2. Stop! Lord Jing's cold voice rang out behind Princess Yen Ling. Princess Yen Ling could sense the murderous intention, but she wasn't intimidated at all. Instead, she was very competitive. How dare the Dongsang Kingdom threaten her? Princess Yen Ling turned around and sneered at Lord Jing. What? Do you want to silence me? Lord Jing and Night Owl blocked her way. Both of them kept their silence and stared at Princess Yen Ling. Princess Yen Ling suddenly chuckled. Do you really think that I've walked into this manor all by myself and said all those things in front of you without leaving any backup plans for myself? Uncle Ma, said Princess Yen Ling. Yes. Ma Chuan's voice came from the roof. Lord Jing and Night Owl's faces turned livid. Ma Quan was Lord Jing's master, but that relationship was only a scheme against the Dongsang kingdom. Princess Yen-ling smiled at him. So, do you think you and the queen are the only ones who know what you did? Why do you think the queen gave birth to him? Do you think the Dongsang king wouldn't suspect anything if Dian hadn't been here to clean up your mess? Lord Jing felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Night Owl's face turned livid as well. Seeing this, Princess Yen-ling smirked. Lord Jing, don't you see? You're a dog of the empire, and the crown prince you're talking about is no more than a puppy. Smack! Night Owl slapped Princess Yen-ling hard. It happened so fast that Lord Jing didn't have time to react. You! Princess Yen-ling glared at Night Owl. How dare you hit me? The next second, Ma Quan was behind her. Uncle Ma, kill him! Princess Yen-ling wanted to kill Night Owl. Although Ma Quan didn't do anything, the murderous look on his face was very intense. Taking a deep breath, Lord Jing fought back his rage. He went up to Ma Quan and knelt down on one knee. Master, please spare my son's life. The son. He had admitted it. Feng Wu was astonished when she heard it from Little Phoenix. It was true. She wasn't imagining things, but it was the truth. The crown prince of the Dongsang kingdom wasn't the Dongsang king's son. Ma Quan said indifferently, "This is the last time." Lord Jing said, "Yes." He grabbed Night Owl and forced him to kneel. Princess Yen-ling snorted. If you hadn't been useful, you would all be dead by now. But Uncle Ma, slap him. Ma Quan was an employee of Lord Yan's residence, so of course, he would follow Princess Yen-ling's order. He struck out with his palm. Night Owl fell back and smashed into the wall. He slumped to the ground and no one knew if he was still alive. Lord Jing was worried sick. Princess Yen-ling smirked. I'm only going to teach him a little lesson. If he dares to offend me again, it won't end so well. Lord Jing wanted to throttle Princess Yen-ling, but he still looked grateful. Chapter 40:12, Night Owl's Story 3. Princess Yen-ling waved him off. That's enough. I'm not here to kill you. I just want to make a deal with you. I didn't expect Night Owl to be so reckless. How frustrating. She turned to leave after that. Princess, what do you want to talk about? Lord Jing's voice came from behind her. Are you going to take the throne or not? Asked Princess Yen-ling. Lord Jin's pupils contracted. Princess Yen-ling, on the other hand, had left after throwing the bomb. After she left, Lord Jing quickly went to Night Owl's side and checked his pulse. Outside, Feng Wu was overwhelmed with excitement. She had thought that she was only here to meet Night Owl, but as it turned out, Princess Yen-ling had given her such an important piece of information. With that information, Feng Wu had a lot of room to maneuver. Instantly, Feng Wu was so excited that her cheeks flushed. Therefore, when Princess Yen-ling walked out of the room, she saw that Feng Wu was lost in her thoughts. Who are you? Princess Yen-ling looked at Feng Wu and asked curiously, Have I seen you before? Feng Wu immediately feigned a respectful tone and said to Princess Yen-ling, I'm a guard of Lord Jing. I'm sure you've met me before. Rubbing her chin, Princess Yen-ling suddenly stared at Feng Wu. But why do I feel that it's more than that? Feng Wu looked nervous and didn't answer. Princess Yen-ling suddenly smiled. You're very handsome. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Princess Yen-ling asked, Do you want to work for me? Feng Wu vented her sarcasm inwardly. What was wrong with this princess? Why did she suddenly become her target? She didn't think Jing Wei was that good-looking. Feng Wu smiled bitterly. I'm Lord Jing's guard, and I'll do as he says. Princess Yen-ling glanced at Feng Wu and snorted. Even you won't show me any respect? Just then, a man walked in. It was Mr. Sakia, whom Feng Wu had defeated. That was mainly because of the ethos of Dian. Not only did the empire worship the capable cultivators, but they also worshipped the wise ones. Princess Yen-ling recognized Sakia's wisdom, so she sounded much more respectful. What are you doing here? Princess Yen-ling asked curiously. Mr. Sakia knew Princess Yen Ling as well, so he said, I heard that His Royal Highness had come out of his seclusion, so I came here to have a look. Princess Yen Ling suddenly smiled. I think he should stay in seclusion for a bit longer. She left after that. Master? Bu Jingyu, Mr. Sakia's pupil, frowned and asked, why did Princess Yen Ling look so pleased? Sakia threw a dirty look at him. Bu Jingyu cringed and didn't dare to speak. Feng Wu let out a breath of relief when she saw Princess Yen Ling leave. But she still couldn't figure out why Princess Yen Ling had her eyes on her all of a sudden. Mr. Sakia was the one who answered her question. He glanced at her before turning to Bu Jingyu. Don't underestimate this princess. She may not be the most capable cultivator, but she has a special ability. Chapter 40:13, Blackmail. She can smell treasures. Sakia didn't stop talking when he walked past Feng Wu with Bu Jingyu. If someone has a treasure that catches her eye, she'll have her eyes on it and won't let go of it. Therefore, stay away from that princess. Got it? Bu Jingyu nodded. Yes, master. I'll remember that. Sakia left Bu Jingyu behind, and Gong Ming showed him in. Meanwhile, Feng Wu was lost in her thoughts. Sakia must have seen how Princess Yen Ling had pressed the guard. Was he giving Jing Wei a hint when he talked to Bu Jingyu? Princess Yen Ling could smell treasures, and Feng Wu had quite a few on her. Although a lot of things had been stored in the ring, Feng Wu was still wearing the soft armor Jun Linyuan gave her. She also had some pills with her. Feng Wu moved all the things in her ring space. She was even more alarmed by Princess Yen Ling. Sakia frowned when he saw Night Owl. What happened to His Royal Highness? Of course, Lord Jing couldn't tell Mr. Sakia what had happened because if he did, he wouldn't be able to keep Night Owl's secret. Sakia was only loyal to the Dongsang King, and he would definitely protect the royal bloodline. Therefore, Night Owl wouldn't be the crown prince anymore if the secret got out. Hence, Lord Jing and Night Owl exchanged looks and tried to cover it up. Mr. Sakiva was smart enough to see that something was off. But he also saw that the two men were keeping things from him. He didn't let it show and only replied indifferently. Night Owl cleared his throat. Mr. Sakia, may I ask why you're here today? He coughed as he spoke and picked up his teacup. He wanted Sakia to leave. Sakia smiled bitterly, but he said, I heard that the Junmo Empire and our kingdom are going to have a major battle in 3 months. Is that true? Night Owl looked at Lord Jing. Lord Jing said, Hasn't His Majesty told you? Sakia nodded. His Majesty has said so, but Lord Jing, you've experienced it in person, so I thought I should ask you. Hence, Lord Jing told Mr. Sakia about the visit of Patriarch Huyen. After that, Lord Jing said, Jun Linyuan is so well respected that even Patriarch Huyen would help him. Mr. Sakia shook his head. The young friend that Patriarch Huyen mentioned may not be Jun Linyuan. Is that so? Night Owl and Lord Jing looked at Sakia in unison. Mr. Sakia nodded. I have a suspect. Who is she? Feng Wu. Lord Jing didn't know much about Feng Wu. To be more precise, he didn't remember Feng Wu at all. Night Owl knew who Feng Wu was because Feng Wu had tricked him more than once. She was the reason that he had been bedridden for so long. Little Feng Wu? Night Owl frowned at Sakia. Why do you think it's her? Do you have any proof? Sakia said, the method of elimination. Have you heard about Jun Linyuan's battle in the northern Yen kingdom? Night Owl and Lord Jing nodded. Night Owl said, I thought it was Jun Linyuan because I saw him fighting in northern Yen. Chapter 40:14, Who's the Young Friend? Mr. Sakia said, if Patriarch Huyen really is Jun Linyuan's friend, why didn't he intervene in such a dangerous situation? Jun Linyuan was almost killed. Night Owl frowned. Mr. Sakia said, Your Royal Highness, you saw the battle. I had a water screen as well and recorded it. He took a crystal ball out of his sleeve as he spoke. Unfortunately, the recording in this crystal ball can only be played once. Take a closer look. With a wave of his hand, Mr. Sakia projected the battle between Jun Linyuan and the others onto the white wall. Meanwhile, Little Phoenix also told Feng Wu what happened inside. Feng Wu was surprised. It was no wonder that the Dongsang Kingdom was said to be more advanced than other kingdoms on this continent. They had such a screen that could see the battle of the Northern Yen Kingdom from so far away. If Night Owl could see it, so could Mr. Sakiv. What about the Dongsang King? At that thought, Feng Wu narrowed her eyes. She told Little Phoenix to keep an eye on it for her, and she couldn't miss any of their conversation. Little Phoenix had been playing cute and slacking off, but now that it was serious, it was very considerate. It was already eavesdropping. Look, this is where Jun Linyuan's life was hanging in the balance. Sakia pointed at the screen. If Patriarch Huyan really is his friend, he would have intervened by then. But he's not there. Look here. The screen showed the VIP seat. It's common knowledge that this giant eagle is the only spiritual pet that can get close to Patriarch Huyan. Let's see who it sits next to. He paused the recording. It was Feng Wu. Not only was Feng Wu sitting next to the eagle, but she was also whispering to it. In the end, Feng Wu said something to the eagle, and it began to fly toward the tower. Look at Feng Wu's interaction with the eagle. The giant eagle is so proud that even princes and princesses have to fawn on it, but it's so familiar with Feng Wu. Keep watching and you'll see that the giant eagle and Jun Linyuan haven't interacted at all. So, do you see it now? Feng Wu is the one who's on friendly terms with Patriarch Huyan. Mr. Salua couldn't believe his ears as he explained. It was that girl. Lord Jing was astonished. Night Owl clenched his fists. It's her. Sakia nodded. It's her. Night Owl gritted his teeth and murmured, why is she so popular? How did she gain Patriarch Huyan's favor? 3 months? Even Patriarch Huyan has to pay a high price to resist the empire for 3 months. Why did Feng Wu make him do such a thing? A hush fell over the crowd, for everyone found it unbelievable. You've been picked, Little Phoenix said sympathetically. They've deduced that you're the young friend of Patriarch Huyan. You're in a lot of trouble. Feng Wu was a little frustrated as well. Has she risen too high and become too outstanding? Why did other people always pick on her? Chapter 40:15. Marry Feng Wu. Who would have known that the Dongsang Kingdom had such surveillance? That was so scary. But it also made Feng Wu much more alarmed. She had to be extra careful in the Dongsang Kingdom. Only in that way would she be safer. If that's the case, what do you think I should do? Night Owl stared at Sakia. Sakia said, if that little Feng Wu is so capable, why don't we save her life? Is that so? Mr. Sakia said, since Dian has set its eyes on Junwu, the ladder is bound to fall, and everyone there will die. If that's the case, Your Royal Highness, why don't you marry that Feng Wu? They said they wanted Night Owl to marry you. Little Phoenix screamed in Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Listen carefully. Little Phoenix said, yes. It was a little sleepy at first, but these people really knew how to wake it up. The bombs kept coming. Needless to say, Lord Jing was shocked. Night Owl on the other. He looked pleasantly surprised. Do you want me to marry that girl? Sakia nodded. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Your Royal Highness can save her life. Night Owl said, well, I can consider it. Lord Jing frowned and was about to say something when Night Owl asked, but will she agree? Sakia said, the Junwu Empire has learned about the sanctions Dian put on them, and they're bound to fall into chaos. If we tell them that marriage can bring peace, that girl will have to accept it for the greater good. Is Patriarch Huyan going to agree? Night Owl was concerned. Sakia said, Patriarch Huyan may have helped her once, but he may not do it again. Moreover, if Feng Wu wants to marry willingly, he has no reason to object. He knows that the Junwu Empire is going to be wiped out. He's on friendly terms with Feng Wu, so of course, he wants her to get out of this mess. Maybe he'll be the first to agree. Night Owl was elated. Lord Jing frowned. Your Royal Highness, have you forgotten? His Majesty wants you to marry Princess Yenling. Night Owl's face turned livid when he heard the name. Who wants to marry that princess? Lord Jing said, if you marry Princess Yenling, Dian will support you, and your Royal Highness's position will be secured. What do you think? Night Owl didn't know what to do. Sakia said, there's a solution. Night Owl asked, really? Sakia said, if His Royal Highness takes the throne, he can't dote on just one woman. Even the Princess of Dian can't interfere. Night Owl clapped his hands. All right, we'll do as you say. Sakia said, I'll start working on it, then. Night Owl nodded. As soon as possible. I need to save that girl. After Mr. Sakia left, Lord Jing looked at Night Owl in resignation. Your Royal Highness, this isn't the time for romance. Do you know what's more important? Night Owl said, of course I do. The throne is the most important thing. If other people know who my father is, everything will be gone. That's what you're going to tell me, isn't it? Lord Jing stared at him. Princess Yenling already knows about it. Chapter 4016, Smart as Feng Wu. Night Owl said, her purpose is to work with us, isn't it? So let's talk to her. What Night Owl didn't know was that Princess Yenling wasn't that easy to talk to. When Lord Jing went to see Princess Yenling, she said unhurriedly, negotiate. Of course, we can do that. But before that, sign this first. Taking a look at the paper on the table, Lord Jing frowned. It said that from now on, Lord Jing and Night Owl had to follow her orders. If they defied her, she would reveal Night Owl's secret. Even Lord Jing, who had been indulging Princess Yenling, lost his temper. He glared at the princess. That's an exorbitant price. Princess Yenling said arrogantly, you don't say. Look at that condescending attitude. Lord Jing felt that he was only a dog in front of her. In this world where the strong were respected, the princess was only a spiritual overlord, but she was so arrogant. He was also a respected lord of the Dongsang kingdom. Lord Jing's face was livid as he said coldly, Princess, that's not a negotiation, is. Princess Yenling glanced at him. Negotiate? Who cares about that? Are we negotiating? Don't you know who has the upper hand? She rose to her feet. I'm here on behalf of Dian. We have talented people as well as ancient technologies. Now that I know your secret, if it gets out, you're all dead. Do you think Night Owl is the only prince the kingdom has? The king has at least 30 sons, and there will be more in the future. Do you believe that I can destroy your son and you with a single sentence? You don't want to sign it? Let's see what'll happen. Lord Jing's face went scarlet red. Princess Yenling sneered at him. I see that you're not sincere enough today. Come to me when you show your sincerity. Uncle Ma, see him out. She threatened Lord Jing with Ma Quan again. Ma Quan, the peak spiritual saint, was the person that Jin Wang feared the most when facing Princess Yenling. As Lord Jing stormed off, Princess Yenling smirked at her maid. They're just some dogs raised by my father. Who the hell do they think they are? She said. She didn't raise her voice, but Lord Jing could hear her. Lord Jing clenched his fists, and his face turned livid. That was outrageous. After Lord Jing left, Ma Quan frowned at Princess Yenling. Princess, don't overdo it. Princess Yenling glared at Ma Quan. If I don't show them some power, they'll try to be my superior. Who do they think they are? Ma Quan had no choice but to try his best to persuade her. Princess, our priority is more important. Princess Yenling said, I know. I won't sabotage it. In Lord Jing's study. Thump. Infuriated, Lord Jing swept everything off the table, and his face went scarlet red. Lady Jing arrived in a hurry to find the mess. It was the same as yesterday? She asked what was going on. Lord Jing gestured at her to leave. My dear husband, Lady Jing said sadly, you used to tell me everything. Are you keeping everything to yourself now? Lord Jing was so frustrated as he looked at his wife. He let her serve the wine and drank with her. Lord Jing had been drinking nonstop. In the end, he had gone pale. Lady Jing was about to put him to bed when Lord Jing suddenly asked, "What will you do if someone threatens you?" Lady Jing looked at him. "Has someone threatened you?" Lord Jing shouted, "What will you do if someone threatens you?" Lady Jing clenched her fists and said, "No one should be threatened. If I compromise when threatened, I'll be no different from a rat hiding in a ditch. You think the person threatening you will stop when the opportunity arises, but to that person, all they need to do is threaten you once and they'll get what they want. Why not do it again? You're afraid of them, anyway. Hiding in the shadows isn't real life at all. My lord, you're too proud to be threatened." Lord Jing's eyes lit up. "My lady, do you think so as well?" Lady Jing nodded. "Of course. What do you think I should do?" "Get rid of the threat, of course. Make sure that there's no trace left behind." Lady Jing clenched her fists. "You're right." Lord Jing smacked the table. "Not only did she threaten me, but she also treated me like a dog. Does she think she's that amazing?" Lady Jing asked curiously, "Who is she?" Those words woke Lord Jing up from his reverie. "You can leave now." After Lady Jing excused herself, she left the study and went to a remote corner. She removed the makeup cream and revealed her true appearance. It was none other than Feng Wu. Feng Wu knew that after what he had gone through, Lord Jing would drown his sorrows in wine when he got back home. Therefore, she put something in the wine, then disguised herself as Lady Jing and led him in that direction. To Feng Wu, both Lord Jing and Princess Yanling were important chess pieces in the game she was playing. She had been trying to figure out a way to set off a conflict between Princess Yanling and Lord Jing, but as it turned out, the princess was simply too easy a target. Not only did she look down upon Lord Jing and Night Owl, but she also knew their biggest secret and wouldn't stop threatening them. Both Lord Jing and Night Owl were proud men, and they couldn't stand the humiliation. Therefore, the conflict between the Lord Jing and Princess Yanling could lead to friction between the Dongsang Kingdom and the Dian Empire. It would buy the Junwu Empire a lot of time. Feng Wu was thrilled at that thought. Lord Jing had already made up his mind. As his most capable guard, Feng Wu, He Jingwei, would definitely be sent out. When that happened, Feng Wu smiled a little, and there was a cunning look in her eyes. Lord Jing was a cautious man. He wouldn't act alone but would consult Night Owl. But before that, Lord Jing summoned Feng Wu. "Jingwei, how have I treated you?" Feng Wu thought, "Here we go." Despite her excitement, she didn't let it show on her face. She immediately bowed and said, "My lord, it was you who helped me to reach the spiritual saint stage. You've done me a great favor and I'm all yours now." Lord Jing stared at Feng Wu with a stern look on his face. "Do you mean it?" Feng Wu said earnestly, "Yes, of course." Lord Jing nodded and told Feng Wu, "Eat it, then." He handed Feng Wu a black pill. Other people might not recognize it, but Feng Wu recognized it as soon as she smelled it. It was a bloodthirsty, bone-destroying pill, and a supreme-level one at that. Normal people wouldn't be able to neutralize it. Feng Wu was a semi-divine medicine refiner, so she could make an antidote. Lord Jing looked at Feng Wu and said indifferently, "Take this pill, and I'll trust you wholeheartedly. From now on, you'll be the person I trust the most." In fact, only a handful of people in the Jing Manor had become spiritual saints. The spiritual saint stage was very rare. Thanks to the fact that Lord Jing was the king's only brother, he was able to raise a spiritual saint subordinate. In the Junwu Empire, a spiritual saint could be the principal of Imperial College. That was to say, with the help of Dian, the Dongsang Kingdom was indeed more powerful than the Junwu Empire. Feng Wu took the pill, stuffed it in her mouth, and swallowed it without hesitation. Lord Jing looked at Feng Wu in amazement. The more capable a cultivator was, the harder it was to control them. Therefore, Lord Jing had his suspicions about this subordinate from time to time, but he didn't expect the man to be so obedient. "Why aren't you hesitating at all? Aren't you worried that I'll feed you the poison?" The look on Feng Wu's face had never been so serious. "My lord, you've done me a great favor, and I feel I was born again. I'm at your disposal now, and this pill is nothing. Even if you order me to stab myself right now, I won't hesitate. Feng Wu was an expert in acting. She almost believed it herself, let alone Lord Jing. What a fool, thought Lord Jing. However, such a fool was much more reliable. Moreover, the toxin would kill him after he used it, so there was no need for Lord Jing to kill Jing Wei. The look on Lord Jing's face was indecipherable, but Feng Wu could see the ferocity in his eyes. But soon, Lord Jing smiled, patted Feng Wu on the shoulder, and heaved a sigh. You're the best guard in this manor. You're the one I trust the most. Feng Wu cursed inwardly. But she couldn't let it show, so she kept her face straight. Lord Jing said, of the 4 guards, I've always considered you the most talented and loyal one. I was right. You didn't disappoint me. Feng Wu played along and looked touched. Feng Wu said in a serious tone, My lord, feel free to order me around. I'll do anything for you. Lord Jing said, that won't be necessary. You only need to kill one person. Feng Wu said earnestly, My lord, please tell me who you want to kill. I'll go fetch their head and present it to you. Lord Jing looked pained. That person has humiliated me and tried to sabotage my plan. I can't stand it. That person is Princess Yanling. Feng Wu looked surprised. Lord Jing said sternly, Are you afraid? Feng Wu said, There's nothing I'm afraid of. I'll even cut off His Majesty's head, let alone Princess Yanling's. Hearing that, Lord Jing smacked the armrest of his chair. Good. I was right about you. Shall I go now then? Feng Wu turned to leave after that. Wait. Lord Jing shook his head. We'll have to think about it. Go get ready. Yes. Feng Wu went back to her room, leaving little Phoenix here as her mouthpiece. No Lord Jing's plan could fool her. Little Phoenix stopped nagging about its cultivation because it knew that they were at a critical moment now, and it needed to play along with Feng Wu. In Lord Jing's study. After Feng Wu left, Lord Jing walked around the room with his hands behind his back. He murmured, I have to find a way to lure Ma Quan away, and I have to make it look like someone else is the culprit. It won't be easy. Owl is a smart man, and I need to talk to him about it. Little Phoenix then saw Lord Jing open the secret door of the study. Wait! Little Phoenix cried out in amazement. Oh my, this is incredible! Sitting cross-legged in her room, Feng Wu communicated with Little Phoenix in her head. How so? Little Phoenix said excitedly, Didn't you go into Lord Jing's study before? You've searched the area, haven't you? Feng Wu said, That's right. Little Phoenix said, You've been in that cultivation room, haven't you? Feng Wu nodded. That's right. Little Phoenix said, But you don't know that there's a secret passageway. Feng Wu asked, What? Little Phoenix said, Lord Jing is incredible. He really knows how to do it. If we're not careful, he'll keep everything from us. Little Phoenix told Feng Wu in detail, The mechanisms in that secret room are deliberately exposed so that if someone found out about it, nothing would happen. However, on the other side, Lord Jing has dug a secret passageway. This tunnel is very well hidden. I wouldn't have been able to find it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Little Phoenix chattered with Feng Wu in excitement. You don't say. Lord Jing really knows his stuff. Feng Wu asked curiously, Where does it lead to? Little Phoenix shook its head. I'm following him now. I'd like to see where this passageway leads to. About 5 minutes later. Holy crap! Little Phoenix's surprised voice rang out in Feng Wu's head. I finally know where this tunnel leads to. Feng Wu asked, Is it Night Owl's manor? Little Phoenix said, How did you know that? Feng Wu said, I remember Night Owl said that he didn't want the Dongsang King to know about his relationship with Lord Jing. However, Lord Jing and Night Owl are very close, so there should be a secret passageway. Little Phoenix said, Yes. Lord Jing has gone up there and is sitting with Night Owl in a secret tea room. I think they're going to discuss how to kill Princess Yanling now. Feng Wu said, Listen carefully then. Little Phoenix said, Don't worry. I love to hear other people's secrets. Lord Jean and Night Owl sat opposite each other at the tea table, but they had no idea that a bird was staring at them curiously. Night Owl asked, "Have you reached an agreement with that lousy princess?" Lord Jing shook his head and told Night Owl what happened in the princess's residence. "Listen to her? Even when I take the throne." Night Owl smirked. "Does she mean that we're going to be her servants? Puppets?" Lord Jean nodded. "But she'll help you win the throne." Night Owl smirked. "I don't need her help. The throne is mine." Lord Jing said, "But His Majesty is still in good health." Night Owl clenched his fists and stared at Lord Jing. "I want them dead." Lord Jing asked, "What?" Night Owl said, "Can't we kill Princess Yen Ling and that old bastard?" Lord Jing suddenly nodded. "It's doable." Night Owl stared at him in disbelief. "What did you say?" Lord Jing stared at Night Owl. "I think it's doable." Night Owl looked up and let out a breath of relief when he saw that no one was around. He stared at Lord Jing and leaned forward. "You were only joking, weren't you?" Lord Jing stared at Night Owl. "What do you think?" Night Owl was elated. Growing up, other people only called him smart, and even Mr. Sakia often praised him. What they didn't know was that Lord Jing would often come here in the middle of the night to tutor him and teach him a lot of things. That was why he was so smart. Therefore, to Night Owl, Mr. Sakia was only sent by the Dongsang Kingdom to keep an eye on him, and Lord Jing was the father he had trusted since he was little. "Father!" Night Owl cried out, "So, can we do it? But if Princess Yen Ling dies, won't Dian take revenge?" Lord Jing said, "So, we're going to kill her with a borrowed knife. Princess Yen Ling can die, but it has to be the Dongsang King's doing. That way, if the Empire of Dian wants to take revenge, it'll be targeting that old man. He'll pay with his own life, and you'll inherit the throne. Therefore, you don't have to do anything. All you need to do is sit there and wait to inherit the throne. When that happens, you can marry whomever you want, and no one can interfere." "Yes." Night Owl nodded. "So, what should we do?" "How about?" To other people, they were uncle and nephew, but in fact, they were father and son. They were discussing in low voices. What they didn't know was that Feng Wu had heard everything they said. Feng Wu listened carefully and heard every word. "So, that's what Lord Jing is planning," Feng Wu nodded inwardly. "He's so malicious." Although, Night Owl was the one who came up with the idea. However, it was a dog-eat-dog thing, and Feng Wu could just stand there and watch. Lord Jing only went back after they were done discussing the details. "Jing Wei." Lord Jing stared at Feng Wu. "I need you to do something very difficult." Feng Wu said, "Yes, my lord." Lord Jing enunciated each word. Feng Wu said, "But Princess Yen Ling has such a capable man with her. I'm afraid." Lord Jing smirked. "Don't worry. Someone will stall him. All you need to do is take Princess Yen Ling away. You won't need to do anything else." Feng Wu nodded. She felt sorry for Princess Yen Ling. If Princess Yen Ling had listened to Ma Quan, Lord Jing's plan wouldn't have succeeded. Lord Jing had been waiting for his chance. During that time, Princess Yen Ling flared up again. What? He sent someone to the Junhua Empire to propose a marriage? Has he lost his mind? Princess Yen Ling was well informed and soon learned that Mr. Sakia had gone to the Junhua Empire. She smirked and said, "Night Owl is nothing. He's not good enough for me. He doesn't get to say no. He's just a dog. Why would I marry him? Don't make me laugh. But why should he fall in love with someone else when I don't even like him? And there's Feng Wu." Princess Yen Ling turned to Ma Quan. "Uncle Ma, kill her." Ma Quan frowned. Princess Yen Ling said, "I don't want to see her alive again. If she's alive, it'll affect my mood, and I won't be able to focus on my cultivation. Uncle Ma, that's why I haven't been able to cultivate recently." Princess Yen Ling looked into Ma Chuan's eyes. "Uncle Ma, please kill her for me and remove her from this world." Ma Quan frowned. Princess. Princess Yenling said, Uncle Ma, there's Her Majesty the Empress Dowager and the Imperial Princess above me in the Dian, and my life is so depressing. Can't I do whatever I want on this continent? Do I have to follow other people's orders? Uncle. Ma Quan said, Feng Wu isn't capable enough, so it'll be very easy to get rid of her, but that master. Princess Yenling said, just lure her out of the imperial capital. I thought that powerful cultivator couldn't leave the imperial capital. If he could, Puyan wouldn't have gone to save them. And there's her family. Apart from Lady Xuanji, kill everyone else. Ma Quan finally agreed. Princess, you need to work on your cultivation and reach the spiritual saint stage as soon as possible. You're so close. Princess Yenling smiled. Of course. Please wait 7 days. I'll become a spiritual saint in 7 days. Feng Wu didn't know what was going on with Princess Yenling. If she did, Princess Yenling would be in a much worse state. Lord Jing had been waiting for an opportunity, but to his surprise, he received news that Ma Quan had left Donglin City. Really? Chapter 4017, Feng Wu's Plan. Is that true? Lord Jing was thrilled when he heard the news. He stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Feng Wu nodded. It's true. According to the princess, Senior Ma went to the front line and told her to stay in Donglin City for the time being and not go anywhere else. Lord Jin walked back and forth in excitement. He couldn't wait any longer, so he went to Night Owl. Night Owl was cultivating at the moment. After the breakthrough, he had risen from a level 2 spiritual saint to a level 4 one. Is Ma Quan gone? Night Owl rose to his feet in excitement. Lord Jing nodded in excitement. Night Owl said, Ma Quan won't be gone for too long. He'll be back in a day. This is our only chance. Lord Jing nodded. Night Owl said, my father has been showing my second brother favor recently, trying to make him my competitor. If that's the case, we'll blame it on him. Lord Jing asked, not on His Majesty? Night Owl said, Father has too many capable cultivators. Even if all your people join hands, they'll still be suppressed and won't have any chance of winning. They'll only suspect us. When they realize what's going on, they'll counterattack. So, Night Owl smirked. We'll destroy his favorite son. Of course, if this gets out, he'll be incriminated as well. After all, that's his favorite son. Only then will he be implicated. Lord Jing nodded. Good. What they didn't know was, Little Phoenix was recording their conversation with a spiritual fossil stone. The spiritual fossil stone was very hard to come by. Feng Wu used to have one, but she had used it already and couldn't use it again. Luckily, they were in the Dongsang Kingdom. With the help of Dian, the Dongsang Kingdom was relatively advanced in technology. Therefore, Night Owl and Lord Jing both had several spiritual fossil stones in their vaults. The one in Little Phoenix's hand was found by Feng Wu after she raided Lord Jing's vault. He then handed Feng Wu a piece of paper. Feng Wu opened it to find an address. 35th Court, Donggu Avenue. Got it? Lord Jing stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu was at a loss, but she still nodded. Yes. He stared at Feng Wu and said, this is the second prince's private residence. After you took Princess Yenling away, knock her out and throw her into this manner. Then, he finally said, you can leave after that. That's all you need to do. Feng Wu could guess what Lord Jin was going to do, so she nodded and said, all right. As for Ma Chuan's trip to the Junhua Empire, Feng Wu believed that as long as Master Ling Hu was in the imperial capital, no one would dare to touch her family. Therefore, she wasn't worried. While Feng Wu was taking action, so was Lord Jing. Apart from Jing Wei, he also had secret guards. However, Feng Wu was so capable now, which was why he had sent her to kidnap Princess Yenling. Otherwise, he would have sent his secret guards. Princess Yenling's current residence was in the most prestigious part of the imperial capital apart from the imperial palace. The Dongsang king had given her a place to live in the palace, but Princess Yenling didn't like the atmosphere in the palace, so she chose an exquisite manor to live in. It was more like a garden than a manor. The courtyard was filled with pavilions, and a stream flowed down the slope. It was quite exquisite. Of course, Lord Jing wouldn't send Feng Wu alone. He had also sent a team of secret guards to help Feng Wu with the possible trouble. Feng Wu jumped into the manor and moved as swiftly as a cat. The night watchman didn't notice her at all. Feng Wu's eyes lit up as soon as she set foot inside. So, this garden was covered with formations. Ma Quanquan must have set it up before he left to protect Princess Yanling. But Ma Quanquan would never expect to meet a formation master like Feng Wu. It only took Feng Wu 5 minutes to solve the formation. She then quickly moved around the formation until she arrived at a courtyard. It was a 2-story building built against a slope and was surrounded by lush green grass. The cornices were hidden among the trees. The room was dimly lit by candles. This was the core of the formation and the safest spot. Therefore, Princess Yanling should be living here. Feng Wu couldn't help but slow down when she reached the core. She knew that it was the safest place for Princess Yanling, but for an intruder like her, it was the most dangerous place. There were traps everywhere, waiting to cut off the invaders' heads. Holding her breath, Feng Wu carefully bypassed the buttons that triggered the mechanisms. All of a sudden, Feng Wu halted. When she dodged a button over her head, she stepped on something hard. That was... Feng Wu's stomach lurched. If she guessed right, she was stepping on a secret landmine of the Dongsang Kingdom. Once she let go, it would explode. The explosion alone wouldn't be able to hurt her, but if all the traps were triggered, Feng Wu would probably die here. Just then, she heard noises a short distance away. It sounded like 2 maids. One was crying, and the other was trying to calm her down. The crying one said between broken sobs, "The princess is so terrifying. I saw with my own eyes that Xiaodi." The one who tried to talk her out of it said, "Stop it. You'll be decapitated if word gets out." The crying one sobbed, "So be it. I don't want to live anymore. It's better to die than to have my skin peeled off." Xiaodi was only a little slow in her reaction. The other one said in a hurry, "That's why we have to keep our eyes open from now on. We can't afford any mistakes." The one crying said, "I don't know how long we'll live." They were getting closer and closer. Soon they would reach Feng Wu. She had no choice but to take the risk. Feng Wu bent down and pressed the dagger on the landmine. Only then did she carefully move to the side. After that, Feng Wu crouched down and carefully removed the landmine. When she hid in the shadows, she saw 2 maids coming her way. Feng Wu noticed that both maids were very pretty, and their skin was so fair that one could almost squeeze water out of it. Is the Dongsang Kingdom so good at raising pretty people? Feng Wu thought to herself. Feng Wu noticed that each of them was holding a sack, as if they were discarding something big. Feng Wu only walked out of the shadows after they were gone. She moved as swiftly as a cat. In the blink of an eye, Feng Wu was outside the window. However, she would be easily spotted here, so Feng Wu jumped onto the roof without making a sound. It was frighteningly quiet. One could hear the sound of the wind. Feng Wu sniffed, for she could smell blood, which seemed to come from this building. Sniffing around, Feng Wu soon located the spot where the smell of blood was the strongest. She leaned over the roof, lifted a roof tile, and looked down. What Feng Wu saw was a shocking red color. It was the color of blood. She saw a bath. The bathtub was supposed to be filled with water, but Feng Wu saw that it was blood red. It wasn't dyed red. It was filled with blood. The smell of blood was repulsive, but Feng Wu saw that Princess Yanling was the only one in the room. She had taken off her clothes and her skin was glowing. She slowly walked into the blood pool. Feng Wu felt a chill run down her spine. There was so much blood in that pool. It had to be hundreds of people's blood. Princess Yanling was taking a bath in the blood pool. Feng Wu saw her lying in the pool with a satisfied smile on her face. Feng Wu was astonished. Had Princess Yanling been killing hundreds of people every day to fill the bath with her blood so that she could take a bath? Why did she do that? Soon, Feng Wu realized that Princess Yanling had absorbed all the blood in the pool. There was no trace left. And Princess Yenling's cultivation level had risen. Feng Wu noticed that she was about to become a spiritual saint. Princess Yenling said coldly, "Double the amount of blood every day from now on." A hesitant voice rang out. "Princess, Master Lei said that it's already very difficult for them to find teenage girls with spiritual essence. It's already very hard to find the current ones. However, we'll do our best to send people out. They won't delay your cultivation." Princess Yenling smirked. "Yuexin, you're so stupid. Why stop at the Dongsang Kingdom? Just expand the circle and go to the other kingdoms, especially the Junwo Empire. If they can raise someone like Feng Wu, they have to have a lot of resources. We don't need to reason with them. It's their honor to give their lives to the people of the empire. The emperor will do it anyway, and no one will blame us for it. Just go get it." Yuexin said, "Yes." Feng Wu drew in a breath. And she was going to the Junwo Empire. Feng Wu took a deep breath. One more day of Princess Yenling's life, and hundreds of teenage girls would die. Her life would be a sin. Yuexin was about to leave when Feng Wu jumped off the roof. She struck down with her hand. Yuexin fell to the ground. Inside, Princess Yenling didn't notice anything. She said coldly, "What kind of a place is this? There's so little spiritual essence in the blood, which has kept me from reaching the spiritual saint stage. But my father wouldn't allow me to practice this amazing skill in Dian, saying that it's unorthodox. That was why I had to come here. Do they think I like to stay here? Feng Wu, just wait and see. You were the first person to humiliate me. Who do you think you are? How dare you fight me? You're going to die a miserable death. Do you know?" Princess Yenling was still venting her frustration when she noticed a figure behind her. "You!" When Princess Yenling turned around, Feng Wu sprinkled the truth serum at her face, and the princess immediately fell into a trance-like state. Feng Wu threw a dirty look at her and cut to the chase. "What's your name?" "Yenling." "Where are you now?" "The Dongsang Kingdom." "Why did you come from Dian to the Dongsang Kingdom?" "The blood, cultivation, destroy." Something inside Princess Yenling seemed to be acting up, stopping her from talking. "Destroy what?" Feng Wu added more truth serum. Ordinary people would have turned into idiots by now, but Princess Yenling wasn't just anyone. She could withstand a lot of truth serum. Even so, it was still too much. "Destroy the Junwo Empire. All of them." Gritting her teeth, Feng Wu crouched down and asked again, "Why do you have to kill everyone in the Junwo Empire?" Because it hurts." Princess Yenling buried her head in her hands and rolled around in the bathtub in pain. Feng Wu noticed that Princess Yenling was giving off blood-red light. Her face, her arms, and her legs looked like they were going to explode at any moment. Feng Wu was utterly confused. She had no idea what was going on. "I can't tell you. It's a curse. I can't tell you," Princess Yenling gritted her teeth. Feng Wu sprinkled the truth serum on Princess Yenling's face again. She asked again, "Why do you want to kill everyone in the Junwo Empire?" "Why?" Because Grandmama said, because the altar, turn it into an altar." Princess Yenling screamed and fainted. Feng Wu was lost in her thoughts. "An altar? What altar?" Feng Wu couldn't figure it out for the time being, but she decided to ask her 6th or 5th senior brother when she got back. Mavdev would know. As for Princess Yenling, Feng Wu hoped that she hadn't been turned into an idiot. Feng Wu pulled a sheet over, wrapped it around Princess Yenling, and dashed off. Princess Yenling used to be guarded by 2 top spiritual saints, but one of them had left for another country. Ma Quanquan, on the other hand, had been sent away by Princess Yenling, which was why Feng Wu could succeed. Carrying Princess Yenling over her shoulder, Feng Wu left the courtyard and headed for the address Lord Jing gave her. It was the second prince's private residence. 35th Court, Donggu Avenue. Feng Wu saw that Jing Bao was there to pick her up. "You're amazing." Seeing that Feng Wu had brought Princess Yenling back, Jing Bao looked at her in excitement. "I thought you wouldn't even be able to make it." Feng Wu smiled bitterly. It took me a lot of effort. You'll be on your own from now on. Jing Bao nodded. Don't worry. Lord Jing has left instructions. I know what to. Feng Wu left as soon as she could, for she had to stay there while Princess Yanling was away, so that no one would notice. Feng Wu didn't know what Lord Jing did, but she knew that he wouldn't let her down. Chapter 40:18, Missing. 2 hours later, Feng Wu took Princess Yanling back to the building. Meanwhile, Princess Yanling was still unconscious under the curtain. Feng Wu took Princess Yanling back to her room and looked at her indifferently. If killing Princess Yanling would stop Dian from attacking the Junwo Empire, Feng Wu would do it without hesitation. But it didn't work that way. According to the information she received from Princess Yanling, Dian wanted to destroy the Junwo Empire for the sake of some altar. Although Feng Wu wasn't sure yet, she knew that it was a strategy that Dian was bound to carry out. Therefore, killing Princess Yanling wouldn't change anything. Moreover, the Dongsang Kingdom would only start squabbling if Yanling was alive. Therefore, Princess Yanling was more useful alive than dead. But was she going to let Yanling off the hook just like that? Feng Wu smiled. There was a pill in her palm. The next day, Princess Yanling woke up. She felt as if she had been run over by a mountain and was in so much pain that she wished she were dead. When she saw herself naked and covered in bruises, she bolted up. What was going on? Princess Yanling blanched after examining herself. She was... Damn it. Meanwhile, in the Crown Prince's residence, Lord and Nisht Owl sat opposite each other. It's all taken care of. Lord Jing smiled at Night Owl. Here's the evidence, Princess Yanling and the second prince. He then handed the spiritual fossil stone to Night Owl. Night Owl smacked the table in excitement. That's great. With that, she won't be able to do whatever she wants to us anymore. Lord Jing said, but if she knows about this spiritual fossil stone, she'll know that we did it. Night Owl said, we can make my second brother the scapegoat. Lord Jing asked, what do you mean? Night Owl nodded. I'll let my brother threaten Princess Yanling with it. Lord Jing said, do you think Princess Yanling will kill him on the spot? Night Owl said, that's why we can't say it explicitly. Let's give her a hint. Wasn't that my brother's private residence yesterday? Princess Yanling is very good at tracking people down. I'm sure she'll find out where she was last night. So, we can blame it on my brother and get rid of him through Princess Yanling. In the end, we can say that he gave it to us. Night Owl smiled. King Jin said, why would he do that? Isn't he afraid that Princess Yanling will take her revenge? What's his motive? Princess Yanling has to be convinced. Otherwise, she won't believe it and will suspect us. Night Owl smirked. I've thought of a reason already. Lord Jing asked, what is it? Night Owl said softly, and Lord Jing's eyes lit up. He patted Night Owl on the shoulder and said, my son is so smart. After separating from Night Owl, Lord Jing went back to the Jing Manor. When he saw Feng Wu, he raised his eyebrows and thought, Jing Wei did it himself, so I can't let him live. However, he realized that Jing Wei was going to die from the toxin, so he said, I need you to do something for me. Feng Wu rose to her feet. At your command. Of course, Lord Jing wouldn't give Jing Wei any task. His top priority now was to get rid of Jing Wei, so that the latter would die from the toxin and turn into a pool of blood. Therefore, he said indifferently, go to the Wang family's valley 1,500 kilometers away and fetch something for me. Chapter 40:19, Change the location. Feng Wu knew perfectly well why Lord Jing had sent her out. Wang family's valley? That was just an excuse. More importantly, Lord Jing wanted to send her out so that she could die out there. Feng Wu felt that it was time to get rid of the current disguise, for she still had a lot to do. At that thought, Feng Wu readily agreed. Yes. After Feng Wu left, Lord Jing turned to another guard. 2 days later. My lord Jing Wei is dead. Jing Jia came back with the news. Lord Jing let out a breath of relief. Finally, that person was out of the picture. He told Ling Wei to take the D0 Ison, and Ting Wei was such a fool. Lord Jing sighed inwardly and waved at Jing. Good job. I'll entrust you with the task from now on. What he didn't know was that Feng Wu had snuck up on Princess Yanling. Princess Yanling had a maid, whose name was Yuexin. Feng Wu was going to pretend to be her, but when she snuck into the manor, she realized that Yuexin was gone. After asking around, she realized that Yuexin had been killed. After what happened to Princess Yanling, how could Yuexin, her personal maid, still be alive? Even if Princess Yanling didn't suspect her, she would still vent her anger on her. It would be a miracle if she survived. Feng Wu didn't want to get too close to Princess Yanling either, for according to Sakia, Princess Yanling could smell treasures, and Feng Wu had a lot of treasures on her. Therefore, she wanted to stay out of Yanling's way. Moreover, Ma Quan was a peak spiritual saint who was very close to Princess Yanling. Therefore, Feng Wu decided to take a detour. Hence, Feng Wu pretended to be Xingxiang, a third-ranked cleaning maid. Feng Wu had been hiding here for 3 days. She had been mimicking a cleaning maid for the past 3 days, but no one could tell. Needless to say, Feng Wu had something to do. She was going to bring calamity to the Dongsang kingdom. Unfortunately, Princess Yanling had been severely injured this time and hadn't left her room for 3 days. As a result, Feng Wu hadn't been able to see her. Without seeing Princess Yanling, Feng Wu wouldn't be able to carry out her plan. However, Feng Wu wasn't the type to sit around and wait. With a little trick, the senior maid inside soon had a stomach ache. Xingxiang, bring the food box to the princess. The chief maid pressed the box to Feng Wu's hands, then rushed off, holding her stomach. Yes. After the maid left, Feng Wu smiled a little. Inside, Feng Wu saw that the curtain was lowered, and Princess Yanling was nowhere to be seen. She had to be behind the curtain. After what happened, Feng Wu felt sorry for Yanling as well, but Yanling had always been so arrogant and wanted other people dead. It was only an eye for an eye. Feng Wu was about to leave when Princess Yanling suddenly lifted the curtain and stared at her. Princess, Feng Wu feigned a terrified look. Princess Yanling stared at Feng Wu with cold eyes. Where's Shijian? Feng Wu whispered. Her stomach wasn't feeling well just then, so... If she's not here, you come with me. Princess Yanling dashed off after that. Where were they going? Chapter 40-20, The Second Prince, 1. Princess Yanling led the way out, and Feng Wu followed her in a hurry. Feng Wu had thought that Princess Yanling was going to the Imperial Palace, but she didn't seem to be heading in the right direction. Feng Wu noticed that Princess Yanling was sniffing as she walked, as if she was searching for some scent. Feng Wu chuckled inwardly. She knew what Princess Yanling was looking for. After sulking in her room for 3 days, Princess Yanling finally decided to come out and find the truth. Who had taken her? Where was she taken? Who had raped her? Who was behind this? Feng Wu knew that Yanling would find the second prince's private residence because she had cut Princess Yanling's arm on purpose when she carried her out, leaving a bloody wound. Her blood had dropped to the ground along the way. It had been 3 days, but Princess Yanling would be able to find it if she wanted to. Didn't Mr. Sakia say that the princess had a very sharp nose? As expected, Feng Wu saw Princess Yanling sniffing as she walked. In the end, she arrived at a manor. It was the second prince's residence. Princess Yanling stood in front of the manor and narrowed her eyes. She jumped over the wall and entered the courtyard, followed by Feng Wu. She followed Princess Yanling all the way to one of the bedrooms. Princess Yanling pushed the door open, walked in, and stared at the bed that had been cleaned. The bed looked spotless, but Feng Wu noticed that there was a storm brewing in Princess Yanling's eyes. It was the calmness before a storm. Suddenly, Princess Yanling turned around and stared at Feng Wu. Find out whose house this is. She headed for the door after that. Feng Wu noticed that Princess Yanling had clenched her fists. She had to be furious. Just then, a maid walked in and shouted at the two of them. Who are you? Why are you? Before she could finish, Princess Yen Ling struck out. She reached out with her slender arm and grabbed the maid by the neck. The next second, the maid fell to the ground and was dead. Princess Yen Ling said, "I need to know in 15 minutes. Feng Wu immediately said, "Yes." Princess Yen Ling didn't notice the smile on Feng Wu's face after she left. By now, the web Feng Wu had set up was slowly closing in. When it was over, Princess Yen Ling, the second prince, Lord Jin, Night Owl, Ma Quan Quan, and the Dongsang King would all be involved. 15 minutes later, Feng Wu went back to Princess Yen Ling. Seeing Feng Wu come back, Shi Jian frowned. "Where have you been? Do you think you can come and go as you please? Do you know how long I've been looking for you?" Feng Wu said, "I." Before Feng Wu could say another word, Princess Yen Ling walked out of the room. She glanced at Shi Jian, and the latter didn't dare to say another word. Shi Jian and Yuexin were Princess Yen Ling's two maids brought here from the Dian Empire, but Yuexin was missing, and Shi Jian feared Princess Yen Ling to the bone. Seeing Feng Wu, Princess Yen Ling waved at her. Princess Yen Ling stared at Feng Wu with a stern look on her face. "Have you figured it out?" Feng Wu played the role of a maid perfectly, and she was perfect in her tone and posture. Chapter 40-21, The Second Prince 2. She said gingerly, "I've checked. That manor is very well connected. It's..." Princess Yen Ling stared at Feng Wu. "Speak." Feng Wu gritted her teeth and said, "It's the second prince's private residence." "It's him?" Princess Yen Ling wouldn't believe it. She frowned. How could it be the second prince? At first, she thought it was Night Owl's private residence. Shi Jian, look into it again. Princess Yen Ling gave Shi Jian an address. Shi Jian came back 15 minutes later. "Princess, that private residence indeed belongs to the second prince," said the Shi Jian in a serious tone. Princess Yen Ling then jumped out of her seat and picked up the sword hanging on the wall. "Princess," Shi Jian was surprised. She had no idea what the princess was doing. Apart from Feng Wu, no one else in the manor knew what had happened to Princess Yen Ling, including the peak spiritual saint. Meanwhile, Princess Yen Ling's face had turned livid. "This Dongsang Kingdom. My family treated them well over the years. Dian has helped them and given them so many things. Do they really think they've risen so high on their own? If the empire hadn't supported them and suppressed the Junwo Empire, they would have been devoured by the Junwo Empire already. How dare they do this to me?" Princess Yen Ling was still fuming, and she kept yelling as she dashed off. Soon, she arrived at the second prince's residence. The princes would move out of the imperial palace when they turned 12 and start their own residences. Therefore, the second prince's residence was in the imperial capital, but not in the imperial palace. 4 guards guarded the front gate. They didn't recognize the angry Princess Yen Ling. After all, Princess Yen Ling lived in seclusion, and not many people could recognize her. Without another word, Princess Yen Ling charged out with her sword. Feng Wu and the Shi Jian followed her. Shi Jian was genuinely anxious, but Feng Wu was only pretending. In fact, she was over the moon. The Dongsang Kingdom and the Dian Empire had joined hands to destroy the Junwo Empire, and they were about to break into a fight between themselves. Of course, Feng Wu was happy. The 4 guards didn't recognize Princess Yen Ling. Seeing that someone was going to charge into the second prince's residence with a sword, they blocked the door and shouted, "Who are you? How dare you?" However, before the 4 guards could finish their sentence, whoosh! 3 of them had been decapitated. It was Princess Yen Ling. The last guard watched with his mouth agape. He came back to himself, turned around, and rushed in shouting, "We're under attack." Princess Yen Ling didn't care what he shouted. She was still furious, so she walked into the manor with her bloody sword. Shi Jian and Feng Wu quickly followed him. The maid was a little anxious. She didn't know why her princess had suddenly lost her mind. This wasn't some random place. She couldn't just kill someone and cover it up. This was the second prince's place. Hence, Shi Jian stopped Princess Yen Ling. "Princess, wake up. Wake up." Princess Yenling's eyes were bloodshot red, and she looked like she had lost her mind. Princess, why are you here? You can't kill people here. Arg. Chapter 4022, The Second Prince, 3. Princess Yenling looked like she had really lost it. When Shijian came out to stop her, she stabbed Shijian in the shoulder blade and sent her flying. Although it wasn't enough to kill Shijian, it was enough to destroy most of Shijian's cultivation. Feng Wu gave the maid a sympathetic look. The maid really didn't know how to read faces. Right now, Feng Wu was hiding behind Princess Yenling and wouldn't say anything. Many people in the second prince's residence were alarmed. There were guards and advisors, but most of them were servants. Naturally, the servants didn't dare to show their faces, and the guards were the first to come out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A team of armed guards stepped out. Whoosh. A team of crossbowmen arrived after them. The saber guards surrounded Princess Yenling in a circle, while the crossbowmen fanned out. They were ready to shoot at any moment. A bloodbath was imminent. Seeing this, Princess Yenling smirked. How dare these people offend me? With a wave of her hand, all the guards in the front row were decapitated. Go to hell. Intimidated, Princess Yenling showed no mercy. She turned all the humiliation she suffered in the past few days into a murderous intention and was going to kill all these people. More than half of the 100 saber guards were killed by Princess Yenling in the blink of an eye. Saber guards, retreat. The crossbowmen, get ready. There came a cold voice. It was the captain of the guards of the second prince's residence. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They were ready to shoot Princess Yenling. Just then Nightlight, the second prince, rushed out, and his pupils contracted when he saw Princess Yenling. Stop, stop. Nightlight shouted. The crossbowmen stopped at the last moment, or the consequence would have been unimaginable. Princess Yenling. However, before Nightlight could finish, Princess Yenling stepped forward and slapped him hard in the face. Princess Yenling had used all her strength, and the second prince couldn't withstand it. He stumbled back. Behind him, the others all glared at Princess Yenling. The battle was going to start again. Nightlight was filled with hatred, but he knew that she was from the Empire of Dian. If he offended her, he would be in a lot of trouble. At that thought, Nightlight glared at Princess Yenling. Princess, why don't you tell us what you're here for first before you decide what to do? Princess Yenling stared at him in disgust and smirked. Fine. Since you're asking for it, I'll give you a chance to speak. Princess, would you like to come in then? Nightlight beamed at her, although the smile didn't reach his eyes. Princess Yenling walked in without hesitation, followed by Nightlight. Your Royal Highness. The captain of the second prince's guards was about to follow him, but the second prince waved at him. Wait outside. No one is to come in without my permission. But Your Royal Highness, the captain was worried about him. Nightlight waved him off. Don't worry. She won't dare to kill me. She doesn't know what I have. Tell Yunhe to come here. Yunhe was Nightlight's most trusted guard and had always been by his side. He was also the one who brought Princess Yenling to Nightlight. Chapter 4023, Secret Conversation, 1. Nightlight and Princess Yenling entered the main hall. They were the only people in the hall. Nightlight smiled obsequiously. Princess Yenling, please take a seat. Let's talk like civilized people. You're a lady, and it'll be very embarrassing if you lose your temper. However, Princess Yenling slapped him before he could finish. Nightlight, how dare you? The second prince was infuriated as well. He looked at Princess Yenling with a malicious look in his eyes. Princess Yenling ignored him and looked into his eyes. Choose which way you're going to die. Standing or kneeling? Nightlight stared at Princess Yenling. I see that you don't want to talk to me anymore. Talk to you? Princess Yenling sneered at him. About what? Nightlight found a seat and said, Princess, where? Turning around, Princess Yenling glared at him and was about to stab him with her sword, but this time, Nightlight caught the tip of the sword between his fingers. Princess Yenling said, "How dare you?" Nightlight chuckled. "I've done what I did. Why should I be afraid?" Princess Yenling said, "So, you admit that you did it?" Nightlight studied Princess Yenling from head to toe before asking with a smile, "What did I do?" Princess Yenling said, "You're shameless." Nightlight smirked. "I'm shameless? You're the one who went to my bed, aren't you? What are you if I'm shameless? Are you trying to humiliate yourself?" Princess Yenling's eyes were bloodshot red. "Nightlight, I'm going to kill you." Nightlight smirked. "Did I say something wrong? Didn't you come to me on your own? I was at home. I opened the door to find you lying in bed." Princess Yenling's face was livid. "Bullshit." Nightlight said, "Of course, I'm telling the truth. You were the one who came to me that day." Princess Yenling stared at Nightlight. "I'm not your match, but are you sure you want me to bring Grandpa Ma here? Wasn't he the peak spiritual saint?" Nightlight was a capable cultivator, but he was nowhere near as capable as a peak spiritual saint, who could easily kill him with a finger. Jun Linshan's face darkened. Princess Yenling stared at him. "Tell me everything that happened that day. I know you aren't bold enough." Nightlight didn't want to say anything at first, but under Princess Yenling's pressure he had no choice but to say, "Princess, you were lying by the side of the road when you were injured. Yuna didn't know who you were, but he had to carry you back home when he saw your naked body and the wounds on you." Princess Yenling flared up. "Nonsense. Since when am I injured? Why would I lie on the side of the road naked?" Nightlight shrugged. "Princess, it doesn't matter if you don't believe me. That was how Yuanha found you. All the maids and servants saw it when he carried you in. I'm sure of it." Princess Yenling gritted her teeth. How could this happen? How could she? Princess Yenling tried her best to recall, but she couldn't remember anything. Chapter 4024, Secret Conversation, 2. Nightlight glanced at Princess Yenling and told the chief steward, "Go fetch Yunha." The chief steward wanted to say something but hesitated. Nightlight said angrily, "What are you waiting for?" Only then did the chief steward go in and whisper something in his ear. Nightlight asked, "What? He's dead?" The chief steward nodded. He was sitting at his desk and was ambushed from behind. Nightlight turned around and stared at Princess Yenling. Princess Yenling frowned. "Why are you staring at me?" Nightlight rose to his feet and quickly headed for Yunha's courtyard. Yunha was the second prince's most capable guard and most trusted strategist. How could the second prince not be worried when he was assassinated? "Stop right there," Princess Yenling bellowed, but Nightlight wouldn't stop. So she had to follow him. Nightlight rushed into the room to find Yunha lying dead on the table. Staring at the dead body on the desk, Princess Yenling's eyes glinted coldly. Was this the person who had carried her into the manor? If the second prince was telling the truth, then Yunha was the lead. But now, Yunha had been killed. Who killed him? The most profitable person should be the most suspect. Could it have been Nightlight? Just then, Nightlight found some words carved on the table. To be more precise, there was only 1.5 words, which Yunha had carved with his nails before he died. The first word was yen. The second word was lit. Nightlight jolted. That was it. The fact that Princess Yenling had come to the private residence meant that she remembered what happened the other day. Naturally, she remembered that Yunha had carried her in, and now, she had taken her revenge on the man, making it difficult for Nightlight to explain himself. Princess Yenling was trying to set him up. Nightlight thought that Princess Yenling had killed Yunha, and Princess Yenling thought that it was Nightlight's doing. As a result, the misunderstanding grew bigger. Feng Wu was the one who had set the trap. Meanwhile, Feng Wu was watching things happen according to her plan, and she was only a facilitator and a bystander. "You killed him. You killed him." They spoke in unison. Heh. They snorted in unison again. Princess Yenling said coldly, "He's dead. What more do you have to say now? Do you have anything to say about what happened the other day?" Nightlight frowned. Didn't you kill Yuanhe? Princess Yenling said, Are you trying to frame me? Nightlight said, You killed him. If you don't believe me, we'll take it to my father and ask for his opinion. The Dongsang King. Princess Yenling didn't want to. Because it was her privacy. If what happened to her got out, as a woman she would be in a lot of trouble. When that happened, the Dongsang Emperor would make Nightlight marry her for the sake of their dignity. At that thought, the look in Princess Yenling's eyes turned grimmer, and she was filled with rage. Night Owl didn't even dare to make a sound in front of her. Who the hell did this second prince think he was? If you can't explain yourself, go to hell. Princess Yenling struck out without hesitation. Nightlight jumped. Chapter 4025. Secret Conversation, 3. You're a shrew. You used to call me your husband in bed, but now you're treating me like this. Princess Yenling, do you think I'm that easy to bully? She bullied him. Princess Yenling almost laughed out of anger. You can say whatever you want. You are going to die today anyway. With that said, Princess Yenling grabbed Nightlight's throat. There wasn't much difference between their cultivation levels. Princess Yenling was slightly stronger, and Nightlight was caught off guard, so Yenling succeeded. Die! A dagger flew out from Princess Yenling's sleeve and was about to stab into Nightlight's heart. But at this critical moment, Yenling, do you think that I won't leave any evidence for what happened that night? Nightlight sneered. Princess Yenling was stunned. What did you say? Nightlight sneered again, but this time, he was much more confident. He looked at Princess Yenling mockingly. Don't tell me you forgot that you gave us a gift when you came to the Dongsang Kingdom. Princess Yenling naturally remembered. What she gave the Dongsang Kingdom were 10 spiritual fossil stones. The ancient technology of the Dayan Empire was advanced, and such divine fossils with recording functions weren't rare. Therefore, she casually grabbed some from her mansion and threw them in her luggage. When she saw the Dongsang King, she took them out as gifts. Nightlight stared at Princess Yenling and sneered. Father gave me 2 of the spiritual fossil stones that you gave to Dongsang. Princess Yenling gritted her teeth and glared at the Nightlight. What did you do with the spiritual fossil stone? Nightlight said, Take a wild guess. Princess Yenling sneered. I don't believe you would do that. Nightlight sneered, You don't believe me? In that case, you can see for yourself. After saying that, Nightlight took out a spiritual fossil stone from his sleeve and put it in front of a white wall. Immediately, an image appeared. The scene slowly unfolded. First, it was the bed, then the woman on the bed. Princess Yenling's pupils constricted. At that time, she was in a semi-conscious state. Damn it. Princess Yenling destroyed the wall with a slap, but she couldn't destroy the image in the spiritual fossil stone. Give it to me. Princess Yenling gritted her teeth in anger. Damn it. How could such a scene be recorded? Nightlight still felt that she wasn't upset enough. He stared at her with a smile. Do you know why I keep this spiritual fossil stone with me every day? Anger gathered in Princess Yenling's eyes. However, Nightlight continued to provoke her. Because I'll watch it day and night. You deserve to die. Princess Yenling grabbed his collar. She had never suffered such humiliation in the Dayan Empire, but in the tiny Dongsang Kingdom, she was actually forced to this extent. Nightlight sneered. WV should I die? You were the one who crawled into MV bed and begged for my love. As for the future, Yenling, with this spiritual fossil stone in hand, do you still dare to kill me? Do you still dare to disobey me? Do you still dare to disobey my orders? Everything you have is in my hands. Nightlight had never felt so confident before. From now on, I am your master. Now kneel. Nightlight sneered as he stared at her. Princess Yenling looked at Nightlight as if she was looking at a retard. However, Nightlight was still urging her, Hurry up, kneel and call me master. Princess Yenling was furious. Chapter 4026. Kill him. Night Light threatened her. If you don't listen, the scene in this spiritual fossil stone. You don't want everyone in Donglin City to see it, right? Princess Yenling glared at him. A sinister smile appeared on Night Light's face. Come on, kneel. Night Light thought everything was going well. He had a trump card in his hand. If he controlled Princess Yenling, wouldn't the Dian Empire be able to help him in the future? With the help of the Dian Empire, why would he be afraid of Night Owl? Even the Dongsang King couldn't do anything to him, let alone Night Owl. At that time, it wasn't impossible to force the king to abdicate. Thinking of this, Night Light was in a state of excitement. However, he never dreamed that. A hand grabbed his neck. Yenling. Soon, Night Light couldn't make a sound. Princess Yenling stared at him fiercely. In the next moment, she snatched the spiritual fossil stone from his hand. You want to threaten me? Princess Yenling sneered. Those who can threaten me are no longer alive. You're no exception. Crack crack. There was the sound of bones breaking. You regret this. That was the last thing that Night Light said. At this moment, a group of people rushed in. Some of them were Princess Yenling's subordinates, including Feng Wu. But most of them were Night Light's subordinates. When the chief steward and the chief guard saw Night Light's body on the ground, they were completely stunned. They could not believe what was happening in front of them. That was Night Light. The prince of the kingdom had died just like that? That was impossible. Your Royal Highness. The chief steward and the guard captain rushed up and shook Night Light with all their might. As they shook him, they roared at the top of their lungs. Blood trickled down the corner of Night Light's mouth. He's not breathing. There's no pulse. The chief steward and the chief guard exchanged a look and then stared at Princess Yenling. There were only two people in the room. Night Light was dead, and the murderer was. Princess Yenling ignored these people. She scanned her surroundings coldly and looked up at the person on the roof. Grandpa Ma, I'll leave it to you. Ma Quan frowned slightly and looked a little displeased. He heard the conversation inside. He knew everything. He could understand Princess Yenling's anger, but, Grandpa Ma, help me destroy this mansion. No one is allowed to leave. Princess Yenling gritted her teeth. What if there are backup divine fossils? What if someone leaves with the spiritual fossil stone? I will not allow such a thing to happen. Although Ma Quan was at the Spirit Saint stage, he was still an employer of Prince Yan's residence. He had to listen to Princess Yenling. After all, it was the resources of Lord Yan's residence that supported him back then. Sure. What Night Light had done to the princess was enough to have his whole family destroyed. Feng Wu watched in shock. The Night Light manor was filled with screams, tragic cries, and fire. Princess Yenling was standing on the street outside, staring at the flames that filled the sky. The Night Light residence occupied an entire street, and the next street was Night Owl's residence. At this moment, Night Owl was already alarmed. Night Light's mansion is on fire. Night Owl stared at the chief steward. What happened? The chief steward hurriedly said, there was a commotion in the Night Light residence. Cries kept coming. Some said that Prince Night Light is dead. Night Owl suddenly stood up. Chapter 4027. Night Light died, 1. Night Owl suddenly stood up from his seat and looked at the chief steward in disbelief. He wanted to run out, but he quickly stopped. Hurry up and investigate. Night Owl ordered anxiously. There might be a reason for this. Could Night Light really have? No, that's impossible. This kid had always been arrogant and domineering. After so many years, who could? Could it be? Thinking of this, Night Owl went straight into the secret room and met up with Lord Jing. You mean that Night Light and Princess Yenling have already gotten into a conflict? Lord Jing thought that his plan was starting to work, so he got up excitedly. Night Owl nodded. Indeed. Lord Jing said, let's go and take a look. The two of them separated and walked out of their respective residences before heading toward Night Light's residence. Princess Yenling had already left. Therefore, When Night Owl and Lord Jing arrived, they saw the ruins. Night Owl fished out a person from the well in the ruins. It was the chief steward of the mansion. In broad daylight, the entire Night Light residence was massacred. Only the chief steward saw that things were getting out of hand and quickly jumped into the well, which was why he survived. "Your Royal Highness, Lord Jing." The steward, whose face was half burnt, knelt down and wrapped his arms around their thighs, crying until he almost fainted. What happened? Night Owl and Lord Jing looked at each other with joy in their eyes. Night Light was the biggest obstacle in Night Owl's path to power. Getting rid of him would only be beneficial to Night Owl. Furthermore, they had succeeded in pinning the blame on Night Light. Furthermore, Princess Yenling had actually massacred almost everyone in the Night Light residence in broad daylight. This accusation? Did she think that she could get away so easily? There were only two people that Night Owl hated in the Dongsang Kingdom. Now that one was dead, the other wouldn't have an easy time. It was then that the chief steward realized that Night Light and Night Owl were mortal enemies. He couldn't ask Night Owl for help, so he turned to Lord Jing and said, "My lord, it was Princess Yenling. She killed Prince Night Light with her own hands, and they wiped out our whole residence. I want to see His Majesty. Please take me to see His Majesty." Lord Jing gave Night Owl a hint, and Night Owl nodded. It was indeed inconvenient for him to handle it, so Lord Jing was the best person for the job. At this moment, there were already a large number of commoners around. They were pointing at the scene in front of them. However, the news of Princess Yenling killing Night Light and destroying the Night Light residence in broad daylight had already spread like wildfire in Donglin City. Night Owl, who had returned to the mansion, couldn't help but guffaw. He laughed so hard that tears were about to fall. What an incredible move! However, Princess Yenling was so arrogant. She actually killed Night Light on the spot. She was so bold. Meanwhile, in the palace. What? The Dongsang King slammed the table and stared at Lord Jing. "What did you say?" Lord Jing said sadly, "Princess Yenling killed Night Light and killed more than 400 people in the mansion. She left in broad daylight without hiding anything. This isn't happening." The Dongsang King wouldn't believe it. How is this possible? Princess Yenling had come to the Dongsang Kingdom to work with them. How could she dare? Chapter 4028, Night Light died too. "His Majesty, Night Light is dead," Lord Jing cried and sounded angry. The king was anxious and angry. He shot a look at the eunuch beside him. The chief eunuch hurriedly bowed and said, "I'll go and investigate now." In less than 5 minutes, the eunuch returned. His face was pale, and he stumbled along the way, panting heavily. "Your Majesty! Your Majesty!" The eunuch knelt down in front of the Dongsang King and said mournfully, "Prince Night Light is dead." "Prince Night Light is dead? What did you say?" The Dongsang King stared at his most trusted eunuch. The chief eunuch nodded solemnly. The king was shocked. "What happened? Tell me the truth." The chief eunuch said the same thing as Lord Jing. The murderer he was talking about was Princess Yenling as well. Princess Yenling was really arrogant. She didn't hesitate to kill the prince and destroy the mansion. Moreover, she didn't hide after the killing. She stood in front of the burning mansion and watched. After that, she left. What did that mean? She was clearly extremely arrogant. After hearing the eunuch's words, the Dongsang King clenched his fists, and the blue veins on his forehead throbbed. There was dead silence all around. Lord Jing knew that although the king was angry, he was still hesitating and weighing the pros and cons. In the end, he would probably make peace. "But there's no witness," said the Dongsang King. Lord Jing stood up and said seriously, "When I got there, Princess Yenling had already left, but I still picked up a man from the well. He's the steward of Prince Night Light. He can testify for this matter." The Dongsang King stared at Lord Jing coldly. Lord Jing pretended not to understand. He lowered his head and looked very loyal. The Dongsang King looked much older. He waved his hand and said, "Bring the witness up." Nightlight's chief steward was immediately brought up. The Dongsang king narrowed his eyes dangerously and stared at him warningly. Tell me what exactly happened. The chief steward prostrated and told the Dongsang king about Princess Yenling's attack on the mansion. In the end, he cried and said, Princess Yenling and Prince Nightlight were alone in the room. When we barged in, the prince was already on the ground, and Princess Yenling was standing with her hands behind her back. She admitted that she was the one who killed him. It's not enough that she killed the prince. She even ordered Senior Ma to kill everyone in the residence. His Majesty, that was Prince Nightlight. Why would she dare? Why would she? The chief steward cried uncontrollably. He felt like his head was going to explode. In his eyes, the royal family was an honorable and dignified existence. But now, Princess Yenling had humiliated the entire royal family, telling them that the Dongsang kingdom was like an ant in her eyes. She could beat and kill anyone she wanted. How humiliating was this? The Dongsang king clenched his fists in anger, his knuckles turning white. However, the old steward cried and added, Your Majesty, is this still your Dongsang kingdom? Is this still our Dongsang kingdom? Are we really not the inferior slaves of the Dayan Empire? If they dare to treat our prince like this, then Your Majesty. Shut up. Before the Dongsang king could speak, the eunuch beside him kicked the old steward and sent him flying. Please calm down, Your Majesty. The chief eunuch knelt down and asked for forgiveness. Chapter 4029, Arrogant Words, 1. At this moment, the Dongsang king was indeed furious. The Dongsang kingdom and the Dayan Empire were allies, and the Dayan Empire was like a big brother, but that was all. Killing a prince in broad daylight was simply indescribable. Go and arrest that princess. The Dongsang king said to Lord Jing. Lord Jing said, Princess Yenling has a peak spiritual saint. Don't tell me my kingdom doesn't have a peak spiritual saint? Senior brother Min. As soon as the Dongsang king finished speaking, a figure appeared in front of everyone. It was a green-robed middle-aged man dressed like a Taoist priest. He looked sage-like and quite unapproachable. Senior brother Min, please come with me. The Dongsang king called him senior brother with a sincere gaze. Lord Min nodded at the Dongsang king and walked out without saying anything else. Lord Jing followed him, but he couldn't help but mutter inwardly. He had always heard that the Dongsang king had a super expert protecting him, but it turned out to be this senior brother Min. Could he really be the king's senior brother? Then the king's cultivation level. Lord Jing had all kinds of guesses, but he didn't slow down. Just as they were heading to Princess Yenling's residence. That's right, Princess Yenling had made this residence, Prince Yan's residence, just like the one in the Dayan Empire. In Prince Yan's residence, Princess Yenling was sitting in her room. She stared at the spiritual fossil stone in her hand with an ashen expression. Just the thought of that bastard Nightlight taking it out from time to time to admire it made Princess Yenling want to destroy the entire Nightlight family. However, she still had some rationality, so she only killed Nightlight to vent her anger. This is simply unacceptable. Princess Yenling paced around the room angrily. As she walked, she said to Ma Quan Quan, Grandpa, I'm still very angry. I can't help but want to kill someone. Ma Quan Quan frowned. She knew the reason for Princess Yenling's anger. To be honest, he was also very angry, but... Princess, we need to think about the big picture. Ma Quan Quan could only say this. The big picture. It's always the big picture. Screw the big picture. I've never been humiliated like this since I was a child. He humiliated me, but he still dared to threaten me and manipulate me. Killing him alone won't be enough. Ma Quan Quan had a headache. Princess, what do you mean? Princess Yenling said, he wasn't born from a rock. I can't kill his father, but I can kill his mother? Yes, that's it. Princess Yenling clapped her hands and said to Ma Quan Quan, Grandpa Ma, please bring me the head of Nightlight's mother. Ma Quan Quan refused this time. Princess, it's not wise to offend Dongsang. Princess Yenling was enraged. What's wrong with that? It's just a petty kingdom. What's wrong with me offending them? What's wrong with me humiliating them? What's wrong with me killing their prince? No one in the Dongsang kingdom can stop me from doing anything. Princess, you're an ambassador now. You can't be willful. Ma Chuanchuan's eyes were cold. So what? If the strengths of both sides are equal, then I will naturally respect them. However, the Dongsang kingdom is only Dian's dog. Why should I give them any respect? It's their honor to be enslaved by me. Chapter 40-30, Arrogant Words, 2. This time, Ma Quanquan frowned. He glared at Princess Yenling. Princess, keep these thoughts to yourself in the future. Princess Yenling didn't think much of it. Why should I? I always say what's on my mind. What's the point of hiding it? Princess, is that how you see the Dongsang kingdom? A voice rang out outside. Princess Yenling turned around and saw a familiar face. It was Lord Jing. You. Princess Yenling glanced at Lord Jing. Princess Yenling held grudges against him for the conflict they had. Lord Jing and Master Min came in together. When Lord Jing looked at Princess Yenling, Ma Quanquan and Master Min exchanged looks. One look and they knew each other's cultivation level. They were about the same level. Master Min remained unperturbed, but Ma Chuanchuan's stomach lurched. Why did the Dongsang kingdom bring a peak spiritual saint here? However, Master Min had concealed his energy, so Princess Yenling had no idea how capable he was. Therefore, she gave Lord Jing a contemptuous look. Why, what brings you here? Princess Yenling didn't think much of Lord Jing at all. Lord Jing said coldly, don't you know what you've done? Outside, Feng Wu was thrilled to see them. While served the tea, she stole a glance at Master Min. Although Master Min didn't exert his full power, Feng Wu had a feeling that he was very capable. Who gave you the permission to serve tea? You should know better. You're humiliating the empire. Princess Yenling scolded Feng Wu. Naturally, Feng Wu feigned a terrified look. Staring at Princess Yenling, Lord Jing smirked. Princess, there's no need to make indirect accusations. What's the point of stalling? Stalling? Princess Yenling turned to stare at Lord Jing. Are you saying that I'm stalling? Who am I to stall for time? Do you think I'll do that for you? Lord Jing gave her a half-smile. Princess Yenling, who do you think you are? And what about the Dongsang kingdom? Although he had heard Princess Yenling's bragging in the courtyard, he still felt that it wasn't enough. He had to give the silly princess an opportunity to make a fool of herself. Of course, the arrogant Princess Yenling couldn't stand such provocation. She smirked and said, Dian is superior and the Dongsang kingdom is inferior. Do you have no self-awareness at all? Do you have to wait for me to say it? Ma Quanquan stared at her and said sternly, Princess. She could say that in Dian, but she couldn't say it aloud in the Dongsang kingdom. The empire was indeed more powerful than the Dongsang kingdom, but if the Dongsang kingdom was infuriated, the people would join hands to fight against the empire. It wouldn't be a good thing. What Princess Yenling didn't know was that her words had been recorded. The one recording it was none other than Little Phoenix. It was Feng Wu's instruction. Chapter 40-31, Arrogant Words, 3. Little Phoenix gave Feng Wu a proud look, and Feng Wu gave it an approving look. Little Phoenix was even more enthusiastic, and its spiritual fossil stone almost hit Princess Yenling in the face. Ma Quanquan looked around and said, if word gets out, it won't do the empire or the Dongsang kingdom any good. Ma Quanquan was Lord Jing's nominal master, so of course he had to listen. But Lord Jing's face was livid, and his hands were trembling from agitation. An inferior race? Lord Jing pointed at Princess Yenling. Say that again. Princess Yenling smirked. What? Are you afraid to listen? I'll repeat myself. The Dongsang kingdom is... Princess. Ma Quanquan bellowed. Meanwhile, Master Min, who was standing next to Lord Jing, exerted all his power, crushing Princess Yenling until she blanched. Only then did he say coldly, there are things you can and can't say. Princess, Please think it through. 2. Princess Yenling's teeth chattered as she stared at the blurry face. The energy the man gave off was very similar to that of Grandpa Ma. Could he be? Seeing that Princess Yenling was in a lot of pain, Ma Quan blocked her way and stared at Master Min. Master Min stared back at him. Instantly, spiritual essence gathered around them, and the air seemed to fluctuate. As Princess Yenling stumbled back, so did Lord Jing. The two of them had to jump out of the circle to let out a breath of relief. The powerhouse at the peak of the spiritual saint stage was so terrifying that they could barely breathe. Ma Quan frowned at Master Min. Is that how the Dongsang Kingdom treats the empire? Master Min threw the question back at him. Does Princess Yenling represent the empire? Ma Quan said, of course not. Only then did Master Min snort. Good. He then walked toward Princess Yenling. Ma Quan blocked his way. What are you doing? Master Min said, leave her to me. It was obvious that Master Min was going to interrogate Princess Yenling. No. Princess Yenling turned him down right away. I'm not going anywhere. The Dongsang Kingdom wants to incriminate me, but I won't have it. Lord Jing said, His Majesty wants to see you. Princess Yenling, please come with us. The Dongsang King, the father of the second prince that she had killed. Do I have to see him just because he wants to see me? Don't make me laugh. Princess Yenling smirked. Lord Jing asked, Princess, is it true that you've killed the second prince? Princess Yenling said, That's right. I killed him myself. I won't deny it. Lord Jing said, That's it. Princess, please come with us. Princess Yenling shook her head. Lord Jing smirked. Princess, aren't you supposed to be dauntless? Didn't you say you had the right to kill Prince Nightlight? Well now, are you afraid of telling his father what happened? Infuriated, Princess Yenling smirked. Fine. It's just a meeting with the Dongsang King, isn't it? Why should I be afraid? Because of what Nightlight did, I killed him to get rid of the evil for the Dongsang Kingdom. Lead the way. Princess Yenling followed Lord Jing to the imperial palace. The Dongsang King looked down at Princess Yenling. Chapter 4032. What are you doing? 1. Princess Yenling didn't back down either. The Dongsang King's face was livid. Princess Yenling wasn't in a good mood either. When she came here before, the Dongsang King had been very warm toward her and wouldn't let her just stand there. He would offer her a seat right away. A young eunuch would come up to her with a chair and let her sit on the side. But not this time. The Dongsang King let her stand there. That infuriated Princess Yenling. After exchanging a few cold looks, Princess Yenling spoke first. Your Majesty, are you here to ask about Nightlight? Princess Yenling asked first, but her tone was still very arrogant. The Dongsang King said coldly, Tell me what happened. Feng Wu looked at them curiously. As a matter of fact, she had no idea what Princess Yenling saw in her. The princess had let Feng Wu go to court with her but left Shi Jian in the residence. This was the first time Feng Wu saw the Dongsang King with her own eyes. While he and Princess Yenling were at daggers drawn, Feng Wu stole a glance at the king. The king was younger than she had expected. Compared to Emperor Wu, Feng Wu realized that he was more capable, but he didn't have the domineering air of a ruler. It was as if he had been suppressed and compromised all the time. That wasn't what Feng Wu imagined of the Dongsang King. A country with a blood contract system should have an iron-blooded ruler, but after seeing the Dongsang King, Feng Wu knew that he wasn't tenacious enough because he had compromised too much. Feng Wu shook her head inwardly. Emperor Wu had to be living a much more comfortable life. While Feng Wu's mind was wandering off, Princess Yenling and the Dongsang King were confronting each other. Princess Yenling walked up the stairs and went up to the Dongsang King. No one in the Dongsang Kingdom had ever dared to do such a thing. Master Min's face was livid, but Lord Jing smirked. If God wanted to destroy someone, he would make them insane first. With Princess Yenling's arrogance, something was bound to happen. Lord Jing was sure of it. Nightlight deserved to die. Princess Yenling smirked. The Dongsang King's face darkened. Of course I have proof, but why should I show it to you? Princess Yenling stared at the Dongsang king. All you need to know is that Night Light deserved to die. The Dongsang king was frustrated. That's all I have to say. Believe it or not. Princess Yenling turned to leave after that. Stop. The Dongsang king stared at Princess Yenling. Princess, please show us the evidence before you leave. Princess Yenling turned to look at the Dongsang king. She knew better than anyone else that the Dongsang king needed the support of the empire, which was why she dared to kill the second prince. Was the Dongsang king going to punish her now? Princess Yenling smirked. Your Majesty, are you going to turn against the empire now? Are you going to fight the Junhua Empire on your own? The Dongsang king's face was livid, but he fought back his anger. Proof? Princess Yenling asked, what if I don't give you any? The Dongsang king was so angry that he laughed. Princess Yenling smirked. So, will your Majesty make me pay with my own life? Heh. The Dongsang king didn't answer, but it was obvious what he meant. Chapter 4033. What are you doing? 2. Princess Yenling laughed. Who the hell does he think he is? I can kill him if I want to, but do you think I'll pay with my own life? The Dongsang king still didn't say anything, but Feng Wu could see anger and frustration on his face. Feng Wu wondered if the Dongsang king would regret getting so involved with Dian. Seeing that the Dongsang king was on the verge of exploding and that Ma Quanquan was giving her a warning look, Princess Yenling smirked. Of course, the empire treats its allies well. The Dongsang kingdom is our ally, so I have to be reasonable. However, Princess Yenling would never show the spiritual fossil stone to the king. Night Light offended me, said Princess Yenling arrogantly. The Dongsang king fought back his rage. What did he do? Princess Yenling said, he was peeping at me while I was bathing. What do you think? The Dongsang king said, you don't have any proof. Princess Yenling glared at the Dongsang Kenji impatiently. She had gone to so much trouble to make up the evidence, but the king still wouldn't believe her. Princess Yenling threw a dirty look at him. I've made myself very clear. There's no need for any more proof. Night Light is dead, and that's the best proof. If he didn't do anything, why would I kill him? That's my explanation. Princess Yenling turned to leave after that. By the way, Princess Yenling suddenly turned to look at the Dongsang king. The second batch of capable cultivators of Dian will be here soon, and they're much more powerful than the first batch. I'm sure your Majesty can guess how powerful they are. I don't think your Majesty wants us to defeat the Dongsang kingdom first. Right? She marched off after that. The Dongsang king clenched his fists, and his face went stiff, but those who knew him well could tell that he was furious. Your Majesty, are we going to let her leave just like that? Lord Jing frowned at the Dongsang king. If she can kill the second prince so easily, what about the others? Did that mean she could kill anyone as she pleased? The Dongsang king had wanted to take Princess Yenling down, but she had threatened him with what she said in the end. 2 top spiritual saints arrived in the first batch. One was Ma Quanquan, and the other one went to visit other kingdoms of the continent and hadn't come back yet. The second batch was going to be much more capable. The Dongsang king took a deep breath, glanced at Lord Jing and said coldly, you can leave now. Your Majesty, said Lord Jing, are we going to let Princess Yenling do whatever she wants to us? Is there really no way to stop her? Everyone in Donglin City saw that she killed the second prince. The Dongsang king stopped him with a wave of his hand. Leave. Under the king's intimidating gaze, Lord Jing finally sighed and left. After the others were gone, the king sat down in the dragon chair. It was his dragon throne and the symbol of his prestige, but a king had just been humiliated by a girl. That was unacceptable. How was he supposed to live with that? Your Majesty is only thinking about the big picture, Master Min said indifferently. Chapter 4034. What are you doing? 3. The Dongsang king said dejectedly, Senior Brother Min, do you think I'm such a coward as well? Master Min said indifferently, "Your Majesty is doing this for the greater good." The Dongsang King shook his head with a wry smile. After a while, he said quietly, "Emperor Wu has never felt so aggrieved before, has he?" Master Min didn't reply. The Dongsang King didn't seem to need his reply. He smiled bitterly and said, "If the Dongsang Kingdom hadn't become so involved with the Dian Empire, would we? Well, forget about it. I hope we can let it drop." The Dongsang King was furious over Nightlight's death, but he could endure it when the throne was concerned. But the Dongsang King thought that he would let the matter drop, but what he didn't know was that a pair of invisible hands were stirring things up in Donglin City. It was Feng Wu. However, Feng Wu didn't expect that someone would see everything she did. That it was Chu Tianxiao. Chu Tianxiao had noticed Feng Wu because he was living in seclusion in a straw hut. A blurry figure had appeared on the white jade wall in front of his dwelling. Chu Tianxiao was so shocked that his hand trembled. He was the most capable swordsman in the world, and of course, he wouldn't lose his balance. What he saw on the jade wall was the only reason he lost his composure. Chu Tianxiao had been looking for someone, and that was what his master told him to do before he went missing. His junior sister. He didn't know which family his junior sister was born into, but if she was close enough, he would be able to find some clues on the jade wall. As expected, a blurry figure appeared on the wall. That tall man was her junior sister? That was so. However, it was still a lead. Chu Tianxiao was about to start searching when the silhouette on the wall changed again. This time, it was the outline of a teenage girl. Judging by her body shape, she was nowhere near as stunning as his junior sister back then, but it was still a lead. Chu Tianxiao could see what the girl did every day. Yes, he could see it through the jade wall. However, he couldn't move a muscle after he saw the image. "I'm semi-paralyzed. That's a sign that I'm possessed," Chu Tianxiao said solemnly. He couldn't leave the valley, so he could only sit there and watch the girl on the wall. The image would change like a camera changing angle. When the girl was alone, he could see things from her point of view. When the girl was with other people, he would see an overview. What Chu Tianxiao saw was that after Feng Wu turned herself into a guard, she snuck into the Jin Manor, faked Jing Wei's death, and then tricked Princess Yanling. She then snuck up on Princess Yanling. Chu Tianxiao watched as Feng Wu, a level 3 spiritual saint, made her way through Donglin City, which was filled with capable cultivators. She was able to throw the Dongsang Kingdom into chaos. This girl is so... Chu Tianxiao was speechless. Is she trying to set the Dongsang Kingdom up? At the thought of all the capable cultivators in Donglin City, Chu Tianxiao couldn't help but worry. He had forgotten that he was the master teacher of the Dongsang Kingdom. For the next few days, Chapter 4035. It wasn't Nightlight. In the next few days, Chu Tianxiao was going to see something amazing. Of course, that hadn't happened yet. Feng Wu followed Princess Yanling the whole time. For some unknown reason, Princess Yanling had been treating Feng Wu much better recently. Instead, she had neglected Shi Jian, who used to be her maid. Hence, Feng Wu could now see how things were going with her directing. She realized that things had slowed down a little. After Princess Yanling killed Nightlight and flaunted her power in front of the Dongsang King, she was taken away by Ma Quanquan. Feng Wu didn't know exactly what Ma Quanquan had taught her, but judging from how dispirited Princess Yanling was, she suppressed her arrogance. She didn't even mention Nightlight anymore. Feng Wu thought to herself, that won't do. She had come up with a series of traps. What was the point of sticking here? The death of Nightlight wouldn't affect the Dongsang King at all, let alone the entire Dongsang Kingdom. She had to keep it going until she got Lord Jing, Night Owl, and the Dongsang Kingdom involved. In the end, she might even get her third senior brother involved. That way, she wouldn't have to look for her third senior brother and could just meet him. At that thought, Feng Wu stole a glance at Princess Yanling. Right now, Princess Yanling was reclining on a chaise lounge with a look of distaste on her face and a malicious look in her eyes every now and then. Seeing that Feng Wu had come back with some refreshments, Princess Yen Ling glanced at Feng Wu and said coldly, "Come here." Feng Wu carefully walked up to her. Staring at Feng Wu, Princess Yen Ling snorted. "Do you know why I wanted to kill Nightlight?" Feng Wu shook her head. Princess Yen Ling then asked Shijian, "Do you know?" Shijian was about to answer when Princess Yen Ling said indifferently, "Shijian, you were on duty outside that day. Tell me in detail. What happened 3 nights ago?" Shijian dropped to his knees and looked flustered. Seeing how flustered she was, Princess Yen Ling frowned. "So, you know?" Shijian shook her head. "I don't know. I really don't." Princess Yen Ling said coldly, "Since you know what happened that night, tell me the details. Don't worry. Not only won't I kill you, I'll also reward you." Shijian shook her head. Princess Yen Ling suddenly smiled. "Haven't you been trying to serve my brother? He's been asking for you as well. Don't worry. If you help me this time, I'll take you to him. How does that sound?" Shijian was elated. She almost asked, "Princess, is that true?" Luckily, she was able to control herself. However, she couldn't hide her joy. Therefore, Feng Wu noticed the contemptuous look on Princess Yen Ling's face. However, Shijian didn't see it because she had lowered her head. Shijian was about to speak when Feng Wu spoke first. "Princess, I have a stomachache and really need to." Princess Yen Ling glanced at her and said indifferently, "All right, go." Feng Wu left in a hurry. Princess Yen Ling looked at the Shijian and said indifferently, "Good. We're alone now. If you have anything to say, just say it. If you say the wrong thing, I promise you that you won't be punished." Shijian looked at Princess Yen Ling in pleasant surprise. "Princess, are you sure?" Princess Yen Ling said coldly, "Of course I am. Have I ever gone back on my words? Plus, my brother likes you so much. Why should I hurt you? You'll have to work for me after you become his concubine." Shijian liked the sound of that. After some thought, she said to Princess Yen Ling, "Yuexin was on duty in the inner room that day, and I was on duty in the outer room." Princess Yen Ling nodded. She had asked Shijian before, but the girl wouldn't say anything and only said that she didn't know. Now that Yen Ling had promised to give Shijian to her brother, Shijian could finally tell the truth. Shijian searched her memory. "I didn't know what happened in the room, but I saw a figure come back with a sack." A ferocious look flickered in Princess Yen Ling's eyes. Apart from herself, who else could it be? Princess Yen Ling stared at Shijian. "Then," Shijian said in a trembling voice, I didn't think much of it. I only thought that the person who came back with the sack looked familiar, but I was scared, so I didn't tell anyone." Princess Yen Ling gritted her teeth. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Shijian said, "If that person went out with a sack over his shoulder, wouldn't have kept my silence, but that person came in with something over his shoulder. So I thought that since it wasn't stealing, I might as well keep it to myself. But the next day, Sister Yuexin," Shijian took a deep breath, "I was so scared that I didn't dare to say a word. So, I lied to you when you asked me the first time." Princess Yen Ling was secretly frustrated. However, in order to force more truth out of Shijian, Princess Yen Ling fought back her rage and stared at the latter. "Didn't you say that the man with the sack looked familiar? Who was he?" "That person was the key." Princess Yen Ling thought to herself, that person should be on Nightlight's side. If that was the case, she would be able to charge Nightlight with kidnapping. That way, the Dongsang King wouldn't have anything to say. At that thought, the listless Princess Yen Ling immediately cheered up. "Although I still don't know who he is, I'm good at drawing. I can draw a portrait of him." Princess Yen Ling said, "Do it." She had to have some talent to work for Princess Yen Ling. In less than 5 minutes, Shijian had drawn the painting and presented it to Princess Yen Ling. Princess Yen Ling narrowed her eyes when she saw the painting. That man. Even she found him familiar, let alone the Shijian. However, she couldn't remember who it was. Who was he? Where had she met him before? Crossing her hands behind her back, Princess Yen Ling frowned and walked back and forth into the room. Princess Yenling's eyes suddenly lit up. She had indeed met him in Night Owl's manor. It was him. Princess Yenling immediately locked onto a person. He's a guard of the Jing manor. Lord Jing has been taking around. Princess Yenling gritted her teeth and stared at the Shijian. Are you sure he's the one who brought me back? Shijian said in tears, Princess, I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. Princess Yenling frowned. It's dark and windy, and everyone has to cover their faces when they commit crimes. Why would someone show their face? Shijian said, Princess, the person indeed had a black scarf over his face, but Master Ma arrived in time, and that man panicked. When he jumped over a tree branch, he accidentally lifted the scarf, so I saw his face. What a coincidence! Princess Yenling frowned. Seeing that Princess Yenling was suspicious, Shijian burst into tears. Princess, I'm telling the truth. Princess Yenling was neither angry nor anxious. She only said indifferently, I hope that's the case as well. If you can prove that you're telling the truth, I'll reward you. Shijian said, I still remember which tree. Shall I show you there? Maybe I can detect something on that branch. Princess Yenling said, lead the way. Soon, Shijian led Princess Yenling to an old tree that was so thick that 10 people could wrap their arms around it. Princess, it's this tree, Shijian said matter-of-factly. Princess Yenling examined the tree carefully. At first, she couldn't find anything, but soon, she spotted a footprint. It was a man's footprint. Wait a minute. Chapter 4036, Guilty Conscience. Princess Yenling saw a piece of black cloth hanging on a branch. It was obvious from the man's clothes. She picked it up and sniffed it. Other people wouldn't be able to smell it, but Princess Yenling had a very sharp nose. Just like what Mr. Sakiya said, she had a sharper nose than anyone else. It was him. Princess Yenling's pupils contracted, and she was furious. Lord Jing's guards had kidnapped her, while Grandpa Ma was away on some errand. The more Princess Yenling thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Who was Princess Yenling? She was the fiend that would kill the second prince, Nightlight, and all his servants in a fit of rage. Of course, she wouldn't let anyone lie to her, set her up, or use her. To the Jing Manor. Princess Yenling jumped onto her horse first and headed for the Jing Manor. As Princess Yenling's favorite minion at the moment, Feng Wu had to follow her everywhere. Hence, she jumped onto her horse and went along to watch the show as well. As the horses galloped along, Princess Yenling's train of thought became clearer and clearer. It had to be Lord Jing. She had only threatened him, but he had done such a thing to her. Not only had he humiliated her, but he had also used her to destroy Nightlight. Nightlight was Night Owl's archenemy. Lord Jing. The more Princess Yenling thought about it, the angrier she became. She cracked her whip. Soon, Princess Yenling arrived at Lord Jing's residence with a group of people. She didn't stop at the door. Instead, she ran straight into the manor. The concierge had met Princess Yenling before and recognized her right away. He shot warning glances at the others, telling them to report to the Lord as soon as possible. He then said to Princess Yenling, Princess, the horses can't gallop into the manor. Please get off. However, Princess Yenling was too angry to care about anything else. She raised her whip. Poor man. He only said one sentence before he was whipped up and sent flying into the air. Other people would be injured at most. They were right outside the main gate, and the crowd was so dense that everyone would notice it. The people on the street were shocked, and the news soon spread out. Princess Yenling used to be so arrogant that she didn't care about the consequences at all. She rushed into the manor. She would run into anyone she met. If anyone tried to stop her, she would whip them. All hell broke loose in the Jing Manor, and people kept calling for help. Lady Jing and her son received the news as well and were on their way. As for Lord Jing, he wasn't home. To be more precise, Lord Jing had arrived at Night Owl's residence through the secret passageway and was drinking with Night Owl. Lord Jing said, Princess Yenling is such a fool. She actually helped us kill your brother. Night Owl gloated as well. That's right. She was quite rough. Lord Jing added, now that we have something on her, we don't have to worry about her. Night Owl said, but she knows our secret. After all, it's a threat. Who knows when she'll lose her mind? If she tells other people about it, Lord Jing said confidently, she has killed the second prince. What else can she do? Don't worry. She won't. They were still talking excitedly about the second prince's death when Gong Ming, Night Owl's personal guard, came in. Your Royal Highness, something's wrong. Night Owl frowned. What is it? Gong Ming said, Princess Yenling has broken into the Jing Manor like a crazy person and is killing innocent people. What? Lord Jing dropped his wine glass. He had just said that Princess Yenling wouldn't lose her mind, but why is she out of control again? Lord Jing's face was livid. Let's go have a look. Night Owl urged Lord Jing. Lord Jing told Night Owl, go ask His Majesty for help. That crazy woman has Ma Quan with her. We'll be at a disadvantage if we fight her. Go get Master Min. Yes. Night Owl jumped onto his horse and rode toward the Imperial Palace. Meanwhile, Lord Jing went into the secret tunnel and soon returned to the Jing Manor. Someone was banging on the door when he walked into the study. My lord! My lord! It was Jing Jia, his guard. Lord Jing opened the door as if he had just finished cultivating. Jing Jia said anxiously, My lord, Princess Yenling has lost her mind. She's been asking for you, but you haven't shown up, so she said that she would kill a person every 3 minutes, starting from Lady Jing and the young prince. Lord Jing blanched. Where is she? Jing Jia immediately took Lord Jing there. When he arrived at the main hall, he saw Princess Yenling holding a dagger and gesturing at the young prince's neck. The younger prince rolled his eyes and almost fainted. Princess Yenling sneered at the chubby little boy. After you die, even if you turn into a ghost, you can't blame me. Your father is to be blamed. His voice was hoarse from all the crying, and he couldn't make a sound. All he could do was tremble, and his eyes were filled with fear. Die! Princess Yenling was about to stab the young prince in the throat. No! Lady Jing tried to rush over, but Princess Yenling kicked her away. Stop! Entering the room, Lord Jing glared at Princess Yenling and bellowed, What's wrong with you? Stop it. It was a mess. Members of the Jing Manor were scattered all over the ground. Many of them were barely breathing and were almost dead. Seeing this, Lord Jing wanted to cut Princess Yenling into 1,000 pieces. Princess Yenling turned around and smirked when she saw Lord Jing. Why, I thought you wouldn't come out. I didn't expect to see you here. After that, she threw the scared prince on the ground. Ignoring the pain, the boy hid behind his father. He stared at Princess Yenling with a venomous look in his eyes. Princess Yenling couldn't care less what the brat thought. She only stared at Lord Jing and said, Since the master is here, you people can leave now. After throwing the Jing Manor into chaos, Princess Yenling had calmed down a little. However, once she calmed down, she would be the most difficult to handle. Lord Jing didn't want his secret to get out, so he waved at them. You guys can leave now. Lady Jing couldn't wait to see that happen, so she led the young prince and his servants out of the room. Feng Wu didn't dare linger in such a dangerous place, so she followed the crowd out. Soon, Princess Yenling and Lord Jing were the only ones left in the main hall. Lord Jing stared at Princess Yenling and asked coldly, Princess Yenling, what's this about? Princess Yenling sneered at him. What's it about? Can't you tell? Lord Jing said angrily, I saw Princess Yenling charge into the manor and beat up many people. As for why, I have no idea. I'll need an explanation from you, Princess Yenling, or I'm afraid it won't be settled. Ha ha. Princess Yenling guffawed. It won't be settled? Ha. I'm sorry, but do you think I'm going to let you do whatever you want? Princess, what did you say? Lord Jing stared at her. How many people have you killed? Princess Yenling smirked. Tell me that. Why did I kill them? Lord Jing gritted his teeth. Princess, why did you want to kill them? Chapter 4037. I know everything. Princess Yenling asked, Don't you know? Lord Jing asked, Why should I? Princess Yenling sneered at Lord Jing. There was anger, mockery, and utter contempt in her eyes. Under Princess Yenling's intimidating gaze, Lord Jing felt a little guilty. However, when he looked up and saw Princess Yenling's undisguised contempt, he flared up. I really can't remember when I offended you to make you take revenge like this. In that case, how about we go to His Majesty and reason with him? Princess Yenling had just destroyed the second prince's residence the day before. Was she really going to destroy the Jing manor now? Even if she wanted to do that, Ma Quan would stop her. He thought that Princess Yenling would be stopped by that, but as soon as he said those words, Princess Yenling smirked. Princess Yenling said, Lord Jing, I see that I've been too polite to you. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? You're inverting justice. Lord Jing frowned. Princess Yenling smirked. If you want to talk to His Majesty so badly, I'll go with you. Let's go. She then turned to leave. That righteous tone frightened Lord Jing. He didn't move. Princess Yenling turned around and gave him a taunting look. What? Jing, are you afraid to go? Lord Jing gritted his teeth. Why should I? I'm leaving. Princess Yenling smirked. Why not? I'd like to know why. How dare you do such a thing to me? Fine. The look made Lord Jing uneasy. Princess, I have no idea what you're talking about. Instead of following his lead, Princess Yenling asked, Don't you have a guard? What's his name? Jingwei? Those words scared the wits out of Lord Jing. How did Princess Yenling know about Jingwei? Lord Jing forced himself to calm down and said indifferently, I do. Princess, what do you want? Princess Yenling gritted her teeth. Bring him here. Lord Jing shook his head. I don't think that'll work. Princess Yenling stared at Lord Jing and asked aggressively, Why not? Lord Jing smiled in pity. Princess, that guard? Well, he had an accident during his cultivation and died because of his cultivation deviation. Princess Yenling stared at Lord Jing with a livid face. Lord Jing only smiled innocently, as if he felt sorry for Jingwei. He even asked, Princess, did this guard offend you? Sigh. Ever since his cultivation went berserk, he was delirious and couldn't control his behavior. If he does anything to offend you, please forgive him for the sake of his death. Princess Yenling was so frustrated. Lord Jing's attitude infuriated Princess Yenling even more. She stared at Lord Jing. Did you kill him to silence him? Lord Jing's stomach lurched. From what Princess Yenling said, Lord Jing was certain that she knew what had happened. Lord Jing's mind went blank. How did Princess Yenling know about this? How much did she know? What evidence did she have? However, Lord Jing was as experienced as he was said to be. He calmed down almost right away and his face went hacked and normal. Lord Jing looked calmly at Princess Yenling and even smiled a little. Lord Jing asked, Princess, are you making things up? Princess Yenling gritted her teeth. You're so scheming. Not only did you kill him to silence him, but you've also made it impossible for me to find any evidence. Even if I find the evidence, you can still insist that the guard did it and that you had nothing to do with it. You made sure it would never be traced back to you. If I insist on getting to the bottom of it, there'll be no witness, and the dead have to be respected. I can't say for sure. In the end, I'm going to be accused of being arrogant and despotic. Lord Jing, you're so cunning. In a few words, Princess Yenling had figured out Lord Jing's plan. Lord Jing wasn't offended by the fact that Feng Wu had seen through his plan. He only pretended to be innocent. I really don't know what you're talking about. Please leave. Don't make a scene. I'll pretend it never happened. Princess, what happened in the second prince's residence yesterday has already blown up. His Majesty is having a headache over it. Everyone has a temper, and so does a kingdom. Princess, you're so aggressive. I don't think it's the attitude of the Dayan Empire. Once His Majesty is really angry, he'll send a letter to the Empire. I don't think it'll do you any good. Princess, please respect yourself. The Dongsang king indeed had a way to deliver the news to Dayan, which was left behind by the emissary in case of emergencies. Princess Yenling smirked. As expected of the father of the crown prince. Impressive. She headed for the door after that. The mention of the secret made the usually calm Lord Jing panic a little. Where are you going? He grabbed Princess Yenling's sleeve. Princess Yenling said, "Go to court." Those words were so lethal to Lord Jing that he glared at Princess Yenling. Why do you want to go to court? Princess Yenling turned around and gave him a taunting look. Since Lord Jing insists on being innocent, I'll tell His Majesty a story from 18 years ago. Lord Jing panicked a little. He smiled obsequiously at Princess Yenling. There's nothing to tell. Princess, please take a seat. Let's talk. Princess Yenling sneered at Lord Jing. If that's the case, Lord Jing, please hand it over. What is it? Lord Jing asked innocently. Princess Yenling narrowed her eyes. She had been defeated by Lord Jing once, and she wouldn't let it happen again. Princess Yenling asked, Lord Jing, you have the wrong attitude. Lord Jing smiled bitterly. I really... Princess Yenling rose to her feet. Lord Jing grabbed her sleeve. It's just that Prince Nightlight has indeed sent me an object. Of course, he wouldn't let Princess Yenling do whatever she wanted, so he began to take the initiative. Princess Yenling turned around and stared at him with cold eyes. He took out a spiritual fossil stone and handed it to her. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.